May meeting of the school committee. Good evening, everyone. And I believe Erica Fitzpatrick, a member of our school committee, she's at the Meet the Candidates night tonight, and she'll be along shortly. Okay. All right, as we always do, we start the meeting with opening up to public comments. Ms. Etner? No. Thank you. Yeah, this is, it is a busy week, so.
Hopefully they're at Meet the Candidates night.
Yeah, maybe they're all at the Meet the Candidates night. Maybe. Okay, and the other thing, too, is I apologize because of my schedule. This is a 1 week delayed. We normally have our meeting the first Wednesday of the month, and that was tough for myself, so the board acquiesced and allowed me to have the meeting tonight. So thank you for that. Okay, so we'll start off with, if everybody's ready, we'll start off with announcements and correspondence, superintendents and subcommittees.
Do you want to do Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, my goodness, thank you, folks, and we also have to do some reading. I am really trying to get going, aren't
The public
I? All right, thank you.
recording. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if there are anybody making any recordings, audio or visual tonight? No? Okay, if you do so, that we are a live broadcast. So, I suspect there are two people that would like to read maybe the mission and vision.
There are two people that would like to do
Very
just
good.
that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll read the vision. The vision of our Bourne Public Schools is that we are a committed community where 100% of Bourne Public School students graduate with the knowledge, habits, and skills to compete and collaborate effectively as society evolves. The town of Bourne will continually empower students and staff to achieve personal goals and demonstrate lifelong learning.
And our vision, the Bourne Public, no, I'm sorry.
Mission.
Oh, geez, look at me. Oh, sorry, moving right along here. The mission of the Bourne Public School mission is to connect individuals to their success, engage the community in new ways to facilitate student achievement, guarantee a relevant, viable curriculum, and ensure universal accountability that supports the success of all students.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, then I believe now it's time for announcements.
We have a lot of them.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, School Committee, I don't have that many, and I'm certainly pleased to see that the high school principal is here because I know that there's a lot of things going on, and I don't want to miss something, so I'm sure we'll give Principal Setner a chance to speak about them in a minute. The only thing that I want to add this evening is we continue to have a number of districts that are requesting visits to the Innovation Studio. We have Concord Public Schools coming to visit the Innovation Studio. I just, again, I can't thank you as a committee and the community enough for helping and assisting us in creating a learning environment that is well-respected and identified as an innovative place for people to come check out and see what they want to look at. They're building a brand new Lowell High School. Lowell High School is coming down to take a look at it as well to see if that can fit into what their contingencies are within their building project. So, it's putting Bourne on an educational map, which is right where we belong because of the excellent things that are going on in the Bourne Public Schools and the great teachers that we have here in Bourne Public Schools, and great students, of course. But I know that Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, Susan Sleesman, has quite a list of things to share, and then after that, I would respectfully ask the high school principal, Ms. Setner, to get up and talk about some of the wonderful things that are going on, too. So, thank you.
So as a nice segue from the Innovation Studio, the Woods Hole Science and Technology Educational Partnership had its spring meeting today in the Innovation Studio. So there were educators and scientists from the area there to hear first a talk on the future of aquaculture and the fisheries and how we have not increased our exports. We're importing more fish and seafood than we're exporting, and what, with the population growing, what that means for the future of aquaculture. It was, and following that then, Jeff Farrington, one of our science teachers, made a presentation about our aquaponics lab. And that has been renamed to mean wet lab because there's to wet lab because there are a lot of things that are going to be going on in there. And so that was very exciting to have so many people there to see that. And he took everybody on a tour of the space and talked about all of the usage, things that it would be used for. So that was pretty exciting today for us as well. And people who had not been in the Innovation Studio were enjoying that. And we also opened up the robotics lab to show that. So it was a great afternoon there. And Jeff has received many grants from WISTEP for this aquaponics lab, and I just wanted to catch you up on some other grants that have been occurring. Kathy Cleary, a physical education teacher in Bournedale, has received a Fuel Up Play 60 grant this year to beef up programs associated with nutrition and exercise with our elementary students there. And she also received a $500 Kohl's grant that she's using to buy heart pedometer type things so that kids can listen to their heart rate after they've exercised and that. So she continues with our school psychologist, Jin Chung at Bournedale, to write grants for some of these things. And today, Anne-Marie Strode, who is the learning coach primarily centered at the high school, received the Lowe's Charitable and Educational Foundation grant of $4,200 to assist in sprucing up the outdoor student area at Bourne High School.
Good, excellent.
So yeah, there's some neat things going on. And then I want to read a letter that we received. Actually, we didn't. Ms. Kathleen Cleary, again, received this letter. We have some exciting news. You've been nominated for the first ever Honeydew Donuts Teacher of the Year Award. This award will go to one special teacher who is working hard to make a difference in their school and their students' lives. Along with the honor of being the Honeydew Donuts Teacher of the Year, the winning teacher will receive a $5,000 grant to use at their discretion, plus a $500 Honeydew Donuts gift card for the school. I'm not sure how that goes, with it's on the list. But in late February, we asked parents, students, and colleagues in the New England area to nominate a teacher who they thought deserved this award, and one of your colleagues thinks that you are an amazing asset to your school and the lives of your students. Congratulations. You're probably wondering what happens next. At this point, we would like to hear from you, and enclosed, please find a short application and a stamped envelope. We ask that you complete the application and mail it back to us along with a copy of your resume no later than May 15th, which I'm sure that she's doing. Once they've received all of the items, a panel of judges will review all the applications and select the winners. But it's quite an honor for her to be nominated for such an award. And they're going to be announcing the winner, kind of like that magazine, what is it, Publishers Clearinghouse. They're going to make a surprise visit to the school of the winner. So I don't know if they're bringing donuts or not, but they're going to arrive. Then I wanted to talk about a conference I went to with Heather Baldick, who is the Bourne internship liaison. And we went to a conference in Leominster, Connecting Activities Conference, which is was put on by the Office of College and Career Readiness. And my eyes were certainly opened to all of the opportunities that are out there for us to connect our students, starting as young as 6th grade, to thinking about what's next. The stress was on making sure that what we're doing in school is relevant and to make sure that our students are flexible and resilient enough to change all the time, because there are going to be positions out there that we aren't even aware of now in the 21st century. And we heard from one of our Cape Cod students, not from Bourne, but from Dennis Yarmouth, was acknowledged for her internship at Semcor White Corporation, which is in Hyannis, and a representative from that company spoke, and what he had to say was pretty scary, in that there's a whole generation of people in manufacturing and these high-tech manufacturing type environments who are retiring, and there are not replacements. So this was connecting activities was all about STEM, because that's where a lot of these future jobs now and future jobs are going to be, many of which do not require a full college education. So I am pleased to announce that we have already started a school-to-career committee in Bourne Public Schools. We have a guidance counselor from the high school. We have some student support, student services director, the STEAM directors on it, myself, and of course Heather Baldick so far. And we're planning to meet before the end of the year to at least map out a mission, vision, and some goals as we move forward for Bourne Public Schools. And you can tell that the state is definitely invested, because we had so many resources that were just incredible and are really valuable, including their annual report, because of course they want to be funded a little bit more in the budget. But it was a real eye-opener. It was really exciting. I see a place for us, a place for our I see this as a need for our students, and so we are going to be moving forward, planning school to career, really putting together a viable program. So I'm very excited about that.
Mr. Chairman, School Committee, before we move on from Susan, because I know Ed Donahue also has an announcement, I think we sometimes forget in between meetings, what is actually happening within our schools, and I think you'll be able to tell Sue and I did not coordinate these announcements today, so we're missing one very important thing in this announcement thing that took place in our district, and that was Engineering Day, right before the April vacation. I have to tell you, and what we expressed administratively as a team and across the district, is it was an incredible day. I think it was the best we've ever had. We had a tremendous amount of support from the National Marine Life Center in Bourne. They indicated that their families from Bourne actually went after, because they were so involved in our Engineering Day. And we did save some dolphins. We had some great press from Mary Petit and the Enterprise, and how we saved dolphins. But it was a phenomenal day across every building across the district. And what it's doing now, and I'm sure Susan may want to add, or Amy may want to add a little bit too, what it's doing now is it's actually spurring us to say, next year, let's move beyond Engineering Day. Let's have a Humanities Day. Let's have something else, a drama day, or, a poetry day. I'm just making a couple things up from our discussions, but it's spurring us off to do more and spread out beyond the engineering piece of it, because we're covering that really well. And it was very exciting. If you went around the district at all, or you heard from anyone, it was quite the day. So I don't know if Susan or anyone else wants to share, but we really appreciate the support of the National Marine Life Center. I just want to make sure I keep saying it right. And they went around all of our schools too to help us out and really helped us design that day. And the last piece of it that's extremely important is Christine Borning, our STEAM director, headed up a committee that involved teachers at every school at all grade levels that was volunteer of their time to put this together, and they should be commended from A to Z on their input and their invaluable interest in this day and creating a special day for kids around engineering. So just wanted to share that exciting time that we had.
Yeah, it's not all STEM. I mean, they did talk a lot about STEM careers, but we know if you have a career of any kind, you need to communicate effectively. You need to be able to read well, write well. So all of those skills that are developed within the humanities, we definitely want to showcase and have students have an opportunity to showcase those as well. So yeah, moving forward, we're looking at maybe a special morning once a quarter. Focused, the whole district focused on the same thing. It's pretty exciting when you can go from school to school and see it happening.
I don't know if Mr. Donahue wants to go next, or Ms. Setner. It's up to them.
Well, she's texting, so I'll go.
Researching, I'm sure.
Okay. I'll go. Mine's more of an update and an announcement. There's been a lot in the news lately about lead and copper and testing in schools and water fountains and kitchens, and so I just want to give an update of where we stand on that as a district. So there is, as far as being tested, all our schools have been tested by the water districts over the past every year. Well, depending on the school, I think Bourne-Dale's tested every 3 years as a requirement. That's been tested a couple, 2 times. I think in 2010, 2013, it's going to be tested again in the fall of this year. Peebles and the high school were both, or the middle school both tested a couple of times just this past fall. They've been tested more frequently on the south side of the bridge due to requirements that they have from that water district. And the high school's been tested recently, a few years ago. I'm not sure exactly when. Recently, and they'll be tested again, coming up this month. So in the testing levels, everything is well, below the actionable level. So the middle school, I know some tests have had no detection at all. Others have minor detection of lead or copper, but nothing that requires any action to remediate those contaminants. So there's going to be more testing involved. You probably heard the DEP came out in January with a new, they're calling it an LCCA program, the Lead Contamination Control Act. So we have answered that survey with most districts. They sent it out, to every district in the state. So we have responded to that survey of what we have done, or that requires more than was being done now. That's requiring a program where you have to map out the whole facility. You have to test every water fountain, all the kitchen, water. That's something we have not done. So we have participated in the survey. There is funding that was just announced like a week and a half ago from the state, where there's $2 million available statewide to implement these testing programs. The state will assist districts. So we have, submitted to participate in that program for all our schools. So we'll have to wait. I think the closing of that's not until like the end of the month. So we'll wait and see if we have any funding or if we make the list on that. So I would say we have been tested. We'll have to expand it based on the new regulations. Hopefully we get some assistance from the state. But as of yet, no test we've ever had that I'm aware of has ever failed, the requirements. So I want to give that update.
That's probably I have quite a few questions surrounding that area, but obviously now's not the time to talk about it, but facility sub might be a good opportunity.
Yeah, we could
for
talk
us to
about it some
discuss
more.
that.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. Sutner?
Contrary to what Mr. Donahue believes, I was accessing my personal memory device to review the
Just giving her the microphone.
Oh, you don't even have a microphone.
I think you just have to plug it.
to review both my website news, which I update regularly, and my Twitter account that is updated regular as well. There are so many activities and things going on at Bourne High School, it's hard for me to recall them all. So I'd like to begin with sharing with the committee an event that took place last week. Corey Palazzi and his mother came to visit Bourne High School on Tuesday. Corey is a recovering addict who comes to us from Taunton, and he shared his story with our students about his opiate addiction and struggles with the addiction. And it was well received by the students. You could hear a pin drop. We did put out that communication and invited parents, and several parents did show up and participate in our audience. The students were fantastic. His story is compelling because I think the students can relate. He's a student who had it all. He was a athlete being looked at by colleges for scholarships. He was an NHS student. He suffered a serious injury his last year of school. And through treating the injury, he became addicted to opiates. Unfortunately, it's a story that the community at large and nationally, this is getting a lot of attention because it's a serious problem. And it's something that Bourne High School really wanted to bring to the school level, the high school level, to share with students, get them thinking about it, talking about it, and knowing what the resources are, both at school and in the community. As a follow-up activity to that event on Tuesday, on Thursday, we had a panel of community representatives from the police department, from recovery facilities, first responders, a full panel of representatives to discuss with students and answer questions that they actually received at the conclusion of Corey's presentation. They were given a slip of paper and students could write down questions so they could be anonymous and so forth. And then they read those questions off and answered and responded to all of those questions from the students, which was great. I think the continuity of the program from Tuesday to Thursday added value to the program, so that it wasn't just a one and done, assembly and then it's over with. It's got some momentum. We're trying to keep that momentum going as we move forward. We are selecting a book title Under the Meth Moon, which is a book title that was submitted by a student. Before even this was a discussion that we were bringing to the high school, a student had read it for a paper in English class, and when we requested submissions for book titles for the community-wide read, One Book, One School, a student actually submitted this book title, and in the process of working with that committee of trying to select the correct title for the upcoming year for the students to read over the summer, we thought what a great way to tie in and keep this momentum going, keep the conversation going, and really focus on making positive choices moving forward. So we're excited about that. Some other recent events that have taken place since the school committee met last. The South Coast Conference with the National Honor Society advisors recognized the top 5 students in the graduating class. That news story and a picture is on our website. Also, Abby Saba and Jody Howard attended the All Cape Jazz Festival. I believe Ms. Fournier said that's the first time she's had students be selected for that, so that's great news. Great little picture of them on the website with that as well. The Bourne High School Music Department, on a related note, is hosting its spring concert tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., so if you can join us. It's always a great event for our students and families. The Bourne Memorial Garden ceremony will take place on May 27th. There is information as well as an invitation on our website that we will be sending out to our community. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week at Bourne High School. We had a lot of fun. There's a great picture of our teachers. We did a T-shirt Tuesday, followed by Wear It With Jeans on Wednesday, and all teachers love to wear jeans. So they did wear their T-shirts. We gathered first thing in the morning at the floating staircase, got a picture of them in their T-shirts. They look great. It was a fun week. Of course, Friday is prom. I hear pictures are at your house. I heard that through the grapevine. All right. That's at Pine Hills on Friday, so we're looking forward to that. Of course, we're gearing up for graduation. There are a lot of events going on for our seniors as they approach graduation. If you'd like to know those dates and details, that's also outlined on our website. Last week we also had, there are a lot of things going on at Bourne High School. Last week, Chris Mason and Jillian Donovan hosted the second annual art auction and art show. It was a great time, well attended. If you didn't have a chance to check it out, I did post some pictures on my Twitter account. It's, oh my goodness, I'm at Bourne, the number 2, love BHS. That's my Twitter handle. Sorry, I'm new to Twitter, but I love it. Posted a few pictures of the setup. It was amazing. The place looked amazing. I know several of you made it there that night. It was competitive, I will say. We were competing on our bids, it was just a great time for the students, for the families, and they did an excellent job. So they do donate the money that's collected as a result of the auction, and they split it between providing a scholarship for students pursuing the arts in college, so it goes to a graduating senior, as well as a local charity. So it's a great event, and we look forward to the 3rd annual art auction and art show. I believe that is it. Other than I can say that the French trip was a success. The kids had a great time. The chaperones had a great time. So I know that was something that we presented at the last meeting because they were about to leave. So they did have a wonderful adventure.
Excellent.
That was great, thank you.
Any school committee members have any announcements? Any adjustments? Okay. All right, very good. Town meeting report. I'm unfortunately unable to give a report about town meeting.
It was,
Someone else would like to.
pretty basic.
Yes.
Yeah, there
I think it was the fastest.
I will tell
really
you,
very quick.
I was able to watch you on TV. You guys look good.
Okay,
Judy and
yeah,
Heather
we
on
tried.
the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
of the TV. You guys look very busy.
No, I think they were, it was really, there weren't any very contentious articles. There was a lot of people in attendance for, give me the name of the.
Jared.
Jared McDonald. So they were able to pass his, what is it called?
Negotiated
Retirement.
There we go, retirement. So, so that was again, good to, you know, the number was actually picked early, so people were happy about that. Out of 30 articles, I think it was the second one picked, so they were happy. But it was great to see so many people in the audience for that. And other than that, to me, it seemed very basic and financial, and you know, just the goings on in the town. If you guys have anything else to say, I don't know, that's kind of the.
From
Miss-
school.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, please.
I believe the track finances was part of the town meeting article, which was approved.
Oh, that was a
It
separate.
was an agenda item for school committee.
School committee
Oh.
agenda.
The contract was approved. Right.
The track project, you want to make an announcement, the track project is going forward, you know, we should be starting hopefully right after graduation, be completed by the end of the summer. That's-
Keyword, after.
After graduation, yes, after graduation.
Mr. Chairman, School Committee, I just want to add, from my position as superintendent, this town meeting was probably the fastest. It raised probably the least amount of questions, and I want to try to contribute that to something in my position. And I think it's contributed to not just this year's worth of work, but I think the last 2 years' worth of work. I think the financial planning working group, I think that the department's coming together. I think all of the work that was done, whether the 2.5 override was a success or not, which it wasn't, the restorative budget process, the special town meeting in February, and all of the work between the departments, the finance committee chair, the board of selectmen, the finance committee, school committee. For me, I don't think that enough can be said about how everybody worked together to make it a non-polarizing meeting, to make it a smoother process. I don't think it's the end, and I think that we have a lot of work ahead of us as a community and as a school system, but I want to thank the community for their support, and I want to believe that they identified that there was a lot of work behind the scenes before bringing these articles to the town meeting. And so I just wanted to make sure that you heard my perspective on it, but thank you as a committee too for the work you've done. It's not as simple as just attending a town meeting for any department at this point in time. There's a lot of work ahead of time for that, but it's 2 years in the making.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, now, next up on the agenda is item number 4. This is an action that we discussed last meeting, but it talks about the school building committee recommendations specifically to the grade spans, developing and supporting some of the concerns and questions and considerations the school building committee's been dealt with. That really, potentially, this is a challenge because does a decision, a direction like this rest with the school committee, as we discussed last meeting, and then, or does it rest with the buildings, at the building level, the process at the building level? Ultimately, the decision has to be what's best for the students of Bourne, and their parents. All right, this is a community issue. It really becomes a community issue. So the superintendent has prepared some information for us, and I think if I could draw your attention to tab 4.
Mr. Chairman of the School Committee, there is there's plenty of information behind tab 4. The latest survey is in there that was done. That was the second survey, which provides a plethora of information regarding it and kind of gave the school building committee direction to it. So I feel comfortable with you looking through that as I read a report to you, which is not in your binder. It's just, it was a last-minute editing all the way up until this meeting. But I want to start off with a little bit different. I want to make it clear to you and to the community that what we're proposing here doesn't mean that our district is broken, that we're doing something wrong. And people really need to understand that. So when we present, and we're presenting a vote for you this evening on a grade span and a recommendation by the Bourne School Building Committee, it's not switching something bad for something good. It's what we can do for continuous improvement and make things better given everything that we have. And I say that because I think sometimes we do feel that, when we go to the number of meetings that we're attending, that there's a lot of passion involved in that. There's a lot of personal passion. It's your child, which it should be. You should be basing a lot of decisions you're making off of your child and what you want for an experience for your child. But I just want to be clear that what I present to you is a decision that's very important for you this evening, and I'm going to give you the rationale for it. But I wanted to start off by saying that we need to continue to give the message that what we're doing is not wrong or broken. It's just what could be better based off of the feasibility study that we were charged with as a Bourne School Building Committee moving forward. We all know that something needs to happen with People's Elementary School. The continuous effort of investing in that from year to year is not going to be enough to turn that structure around or make it, or as Mr. Hilberg, Chairman Hilberg continues to say, the margin of safety and the investment that you're putting in there is the investment's going to be much larger to maintain that margin of safety over time to a point where it's not going to be feasible. And so something has to happen. Now, getting at this, because for some of you, it may feel like, you're being asked or tasked with a recommended motion this evening, which may seem new to you, but I just want to be clear, and I've done this in the past and I want to do it again. I want to be clear to you and to the community as to what's happened. As a school building committee, we have met May 26, 2015, July 16, 2015, September 29, 2015, October 8, 2015, October 22, 2015, November 5, 2015, November 19, 2015, December 3, 2015, December 17, 2015, January 7, 2016, February 4, 2016, February 8, 2016, March 10, 2016, March 24, 2016, April 7, 2016, April 28, 2016, and May 12th tomorrow night will be another meeting for us to deliberate and work on our final decisions. On top of that, we've had community forums, which all of these things have been open to the public. We had our first community forum October 26, 2015. Our second one, November 17th, 2015. Our third one, December 8, 2015. Fourth one, January 21st, 2016. Our fifth one, March 3rd, 2016. Our sixth one, March 31st, 2016, and our seventh one as recent as last Thursday, May 5th, 2016. So there's been a lot of information gathered through these processes, which leads us to the decision that's extremely important for you this evening regarding a recommendation from the School Building Committee that I would predict is going to come forward for grade spans based off of the straw vote that was taken last week, and also the feedback we received from the community forum and from the surveys. So with that said, I'd like to read to you the proposal that's in front of you, which will have a suggested motion at the end of it. If you bear with me, I think it's about 20 minutes, so hold on, okay? Sorry, Anne Marie, didn't mean to. Proposal to create 3 grade span schools through 8th grade. The introduction to this is the Bourne School Building Committee has put forth their ideal People's Elementary School project through a preliminary unanimous straw vote that creates a district-wide pre-K to grade 2 school, a new school that houses grade 3 through 5, and establishes a middle school consisting of grades 6 through 8. Bourne High School grade spans do not change within this proposal. While this is a dramatic shift from the current school configurations, there are potential benefits for all stakeholders of the Bourne Public Schools, and that's what I want to share with you. Please keep in mind that this report is going to be respectfully submitted by me as a superintendent on behalf of the school administration team, but it's in partial fulfillment of what we need to present to the Mass School Building Authority for the preferred schematic report. So I just wanted to give you an understanding as to what the basis of this is. It will reflect to you the investment that we've made administratively to come up with this recommendation, and for you to be able to process with the recommended motion. So what are the benefits of with our recommendation of a grade span schools through 8th grade? We believe that there's a shared educational experience for our students. This model ensures that students will start and remain with their graduating classes throughout their educational careers, allowing them the opportunity to establish a class identity much earlier. It is extremely challenging to ensure that all programs and activities are the same in real or perceived inequities and inconsistencies between elementary schools will be eliminated if all students attend the same schools from the beginning. For example, curriculum presentations, field trips, special events, new academic programming, and before and after school activities will be available to all students. It would not have to be recreated or available in only one school or available only to a certain population. By creating 3 grade span schools, all students will have the same educational opportunities and experiences regardless of where they live, which we believe will increase student learning, academic growth, and overall student achievement. We believe that there are social, emotional benefits as well. Schools that house only 3 grades, the early childhood center would be pre-K through 4, so that would be ultimately 4. But the other schools would be 3 grades, can produce an increased sense of small community and school identity, which can lead to students feeling safer with students their own ages, leading to increased confidence in academic performance. Moving the 5th grade to the 3 through 5 recommended school further eases student transitions to middle school, as they will already merge as a class and experience transition from the elementary school, the early school, to an intermediate grades 3 through 5 school. Students will take the school bus with students their own age groups that will reduce exposure to behaviors of older students. Second and fifth grade students will have the opportunity for student leadership roles that currently neither age group have, enhance the opportunity for buddy programs or student mentoring programs in each school for a unique group of students. We also believe a benefit is family-specific concerns could be eliminated. There are some particular logistical and transition complications that some Bourne families experience with the current school configurations that will be eliminated with this design. Currently, if a family moves within Bourne, within this community, but out of its home elementary school radius, the children must change schools. This configuration gives families more flexibility in relocating within the town. Currently, many children change schools when attending pre-K or kindergarten at Bournedale and their home school being Peebles. This is often challenging and adds an additional transition. Additionally, this school configuration will benefit our military families. While many families live at Joint Base Cape Cod, many other military families live on the west side of the canal. When all students in military families attend the same schools, community building, establishment of support networks, and transitions will be significantly improved. We also believe the benefit will be increased focus on developmental ages. By creating small grade span schools, each school will be able to focus on more specific stages of child development. There will be a building-wide concentration of attention to the growth, emotional, physical, and curricular needs associated with each level of students. School-wide activities, incentive programs, school climate building exercises, and assemblies will be focused and custom-made to each specific age group. Right now, all building-based specialists in the elementary schools must know and understand all aspects of child development, curriculum frameworks for multiple grade spans. With only 3 grade levels, administration, building-based specialists, ESPs, Title I tutors, and support staff will concentrate on a specific age group and can shape instruction to match student needs. This will result in more effective teaching and learning. Each parent-teacher association will also be able to focus time, programs, and resources to a specific age group, allowing more specialization in educational support and enrichment activities. Even space sizes such as the gymnasium, music room, computer labs, and cafeteria will be more appropriate to each age group. Additional possibilities for customized innovations at each school, such as makerspaces, could result. Service learning projects, community outreach, and project-based learning activities are all examples of activities that will be completed in these new workspaces, which will enhance the enrichment in the curriculum and meet the ever-changing needs of the 21st century learner at these grade spans, grade age levels. We also believe a benefit is more class structure freedom. Class sizes may become smaller and more even across grade levels when there are fewer grades per school. With additional classrooms per grade in each school at the elementary level, more opportunities for optimal student and teacher matches can occur. In turn, classrooms and classroom sizes can become more balanced and overall class size reduced. The flexibility will also open up opportunities for flexible grouping, looping, teaming, and platooning across the grade spans. We also believe a benefit is more streamlined curriculum and collaboration opportunities. When all teachers of the same grade and subject matter are together in one building, there will be a positive impact on curriculum alignment and development, teacher collaboration, and professional development. This proposed grade configuration directly aligns with the Massachusetts frameworks that are written for pre-K to 5, grades 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. Therefore, curriculum, instruction, and assessment will be more aligned with the state guidelines. Teacher collaboration times at the elementary school will increase. Currently, elementary teachers only meet together across all grade spans once a month for 1 hour for a joint faculty meeting. When similar grades are housed together, teachers will be able to formally meet as a grade level team much more frequently to plan, create, share, assess, and learn from each other. Professional development will not only be embedded in the day-to-day workings of the school and staff meetings, but professional development programs and work will be customized for the age level of each school. There will be increased opportunities for peer observation and feedback when all the teachers for each grade are together in one school. It will also be significantly less challenging to integrate the curriculum at each grade level. All of this will lead to increased horizontal and vertical curriculum alignment, which will produce a more balanced, equitable, and rigorous learning experience for all students. We also believe that more efficient use of curriculum materials is a benefit. Housing like grades in the same buildings will facilitate sharing of materials among teachers. Materials will no longer have to be duplicated, transported for sharing, or purchased twice, which will save time and money. This also allows for purchase of new and innovative resources. Materials in the media center and software in the computer labs will be purchased only once and chosen specifically for each age group. Materials will be directly targeted for each age group and would ensure greater grade level equity, as all students have the same learning experience in the same building. We also believe that there will be an improved support network and programs within these grade spans, specifically for student services. Presently, special education teachers work with a wide span of age groups and learning abilities. When students of each grade level are together in one school, special education teachers will be able to focus and specialize in more specific areas of need. Grouping students together based on needs will be easier and result in more specialized individual attention that better targets each student's unique learning requirements. In this way, the response to intervention, RTI program, will improve with a specific focus based on grade spans, age groupings. This will result in a more structured and effective RTI program. As the makeup of the economically disadvantaged students shift, Title I services, in addition, could possibly be available for all students in all schools rather than just at Peebles Elementary School, as is now. Services will be even better targeted and streamlined as the program possibly expands to all schools in the district. Specifically to our intensive learning centers, students with our most significant needs, they will also experience positive change. Currently, the ILC, Intensive Learning Centers program, is only available at Bourne Elementary School. This means when a student's home is at Peebles, he or she is enrolled in the ILC program at Bourne. The student does not attend his or her home school with siblings who may be bused to Peebles. This situation tends to create problems for families and may cause a sense of seclusion for the ILC student. When the student is ready to transition to an inclusion classroom, he or she leaves the school and the teachers and he and she has been accustomed to, making the transition to Peebles even more challenging. Having an ILC in each school that's age-based, age span-based, on focused age groupings in Bourne will certainly ease transition for individual students and families, as well as enhance natural opportunities for integrated learning inclusion. All students in all schools can learn in the same building with simplifying coordination of inclusion activities. We also believe a benefit is expanded early childhood program. Creating a pre-K through 2 school will expand and enhance the early childhood program already in place. An early childhood program will be developed to include a universal pre-K program available to all Bourne students. Currently, some Bourne students attend pre-K in other towns via school choice and then choose to stay in those towns for the duration of their education because the students and families are already academically acclimated to their other school community. The grade spans options means that attending Bourne Public Schools from pre-K through high school graduation is more practical and linear for families. The kindergarten program will expand to full day, universal kindergarten for all students with a half-day option for families who want it. Currently, there are only 2 full-day kindergarten classes per school chosen by lottery with a tuition cost for families. The creation of an early childhood program will also open up opportunities for community involvement with partners such as YMCA, Head Start, and early intervention. We also believe that there is a positive impact on the middle school. Creating a 6 through 8 middle school will allow teachers and staff to use the middle school in the way in which it was intended when it was built. Teachers and staff can more narrowly focus curriculum programs and activities to early adolescent learners. Middle school programming would change. While core classes and teaming structures are not anticipated to be affected, special classes such as unified arts such as art, coding, music will remain, but the added benefit is they could also potentially expand to include grades 3 through 5. Additionally, there could be an extension to the world language classes to grade 6. Right now, only some grade 7 students and all grade 8 students have that as an option. Moving grade 5 to an intermediate school opens 4 classrooms in the middle school to be used for a variety of innovative programs and activities as well as for special education teachers. Currently, at the middle school, 6 special education teachers share 2 classrooms. Opening up additional space in the middle school will give the special education teachers and students the space they need to work more effectively and ensure space compliance with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education Program Quality Assurance. Now, I just shared with you all the benefits. There are challenges to this as well. and it's extremely important for you to hear the challenges. Now, we've presented this at our last community forum, and we talked about some of the challenges, and those challenges continue to emerge. So we know we need to address those challenges moving in this way. We're not burying our heads in the sand regarding these challenges. While there are many benefits to the Bourne Public Schools community that's shifting to grade span schools, there are also some serious challenges to considering required, careful, thoughtful planning and communication. Impact on students and families. Having families with students in multiple buildings may create logistical, scheduling, and childcare issues for families. There will be one additional school transition from grade 2 to 3, as we already have transitions from elementary, middle to high school. We'll add an additional transition. For students that have the potential to cause anxiety and stress can interfere with learning while the students become adjusted to their new schools. While research is not empirical regarding the overall impact of school transition on student learning, we are cognizant that over the course of an educational career, it may be less than favorable to some students by adding that additional transition. However, research does suggest that students have the most academic and emotional success when the transition from one school to the next does not occur for at least 3 school years. This proposal will allow students 3 years in each school before going to the next level. Of course, the Bourne Public Schools will develop and implement effective transition programs for each grade level in school in order to ease the stress of this transition. With that said, careful planning is necessary to transition to grade spans model as 2 groups. If we make that transition, 2 groups of students identified will experience an increased transition for the initial move to grade spans. Rising second grade students going to a 3rd grade, 3 through 5 school, and rising 5th grade students from Bourndale would have an increased transition. They'd be going to the new school and then to the middle school. These students will have attended their home schools for all of their school years, switched to new grade span district school for only 1 year when the new schools are created, and then have to switch to another school as they progress in age and grade. While this is a one-time experience, it may be disruptive to the individual learner and delay the formation of each school's climate and culture. Naturally, Bourne Public Schools will address these transition concerns with additional support and enhanced transition programs for those 2 groups of students. Other challenges: school climate and culture. Schools will have to rebuild a sense of community and create new school cultures as 3 brand-new schools will be created. Each school body of students, teachers, support staff, and administration will work together to create a school climate and community appropriate for each age group. This will take time, and schools may experience road bumps and pitfalls along the way. There will be a period of transition when the shift occurs, which will be worked with appropriately. Just 2 more concerns, challenges. Staffing. Programming changes at the creation of new grade span schools will impact staffing. With the shift, there could be significant issues with teacher licensure and scheduling, and the potential need to hire more teachers and staff to support new programming, unified arts, and scheduling. This has the potential for a significant cost increase to the Bourne Public Schools. Next, buses, transportation. All of the bus routes will need to be reworked, which could be costly. There will be more travel time for students who need to travel over the bridge due to traffic accidents and increased distance. Start and end times for buses may also need to be revised, which could impact the start and end times of each school, potentially putting a strain on students and families. Presently, there is a 3-tier school bus route system. The proposed grade span shift could add additional travel time and cost if there is a switch to a 4-tier system, 1 bus route for each school. However, if a 3-tiered system in the middle school and high school students as a proposal ride together, school start times will change, but the cost may not be as high. So with all that said, I have a conclusion for you and a recommendation. At this juncture, the Bourne School Building Committee is preparing to make a recommendation for the preferred schematic report to include, in all probability, a grade span reconfiguration for the Bourne Public Schools. It is the duty and responsibility of the Bourne School Committee to memorialize and set in motion their support of the Bourne School Building Committee's efforts and recommendation to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. In suggestion for me, in recommendation, I would respectfully recommend a motion in support of the change in grade spans for Bourne students only if the town votes to fulfill funding and the construction of a new school by participating in the MSBA grant program. In this way, change to grade spans will not take hold based on our current school building configurations, current demographics, enrollment, or established programs in our schools. In simplest form, the motion addresses a recommended vision and a future direction for the Bourne Public Schools established through a comprehensive feasibility study commissioned by the town voters.
Thank you,
I'm ready for
Superintendent
questions
Lemarche.
if you have them.
All right, I'll open it up to the school committee.
So I'd like to have a little bit more information about the unified arts and that actually expanding or the need for more teachers. Can you elaborate on that a little
Yeah,
more?
currently, the way the unified arts are at the middle school, it covers 4 grades. So if you were to take one grade and you put it in another school, you're taking, in essence, for some of them, a third of their teaching schedule and moving it to another school. So you could expand, and the teacher could teach at both the middle school and the elementary school. Now, it's not a perfect science because schedules could be different, so there could be an addition of some staff there. But to us, we see with the developmental stages that it's more appropriate. 5th grade is already experiencing some of these unified arts. We wouldn't want to diminish that. We'd want to increase that. We could possibly increase that to grades 3 and 4 as well within the program. So we see a win-win for our students and their experiences moving forward with this type of grade span, grade configuration. But again, if you take 5th grade out of the middle school, you are taking teaching loads away from some teachers. Nowhere in here are we looking to reduce teachers. We don't see that as a problem or a concern or a challenge moving forward. It's really to see how we can address it to make sure that we increase and give our students those experiences. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank
Okay.
you.
Ed, do you have a figure on the cost for adding a 4th route?
Actually, I don't believe we could do a 4-tier system.
Okay.
Because there's not enough time. That's really not, I
Okay.
would just,
So
you know,
that's
say
not-
that's not accurate, that's not feasible, because we need about 45 minutes per tier. So we'd have to go to I think it'd have to be a 3-tier system. We've talked about either have to group the middle school with the high school students or the upper elementary kids with the middle school students. There would have to be a big discussion on which way to go on that, but it's not feasible to have a 4-tier system with the timing required, in the town.
And as of right now, the high school students have to pay, right, for their busing? Is that correct?
That's
They-
correct, right.
So, but right now, and then up to 8th grade, it's a town cost?
Correct.
Okay, all right, so that would be a change there,
Yeah,
too.
we'd look at that. I mean, the idea of paying for the high school level is more, because at least if students didn't pay, it'd be a lot of kids who would sign up and not take the bus. We'd have a lot of buses with very few students on them. It's more of a way to manage the transportation and not have empty buses driving all around town we're paying for. That's really most districts do charge at high school level. That's the reasoning.
Question I have concerning cost. When we look at a like grade scenario, we're calling this 5 alpha, yeah?
What are we calling it?
5A.
5A, yeah.
Option 5A.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. So I want to be sure in terms of cost differential, is there a change in that type of model beyond the possible transportation implications and beyond the possible staffing concerns, which we're talking singletons by my estimate of your description, not double digits of hires and so forth, if I understood correctly.
It's going to take, as we get further into this, it's going to take a well-planned,
Sure.
well-thought-out plan in dissecting that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
But in terms of building cost now, how much difference would 5A make versus what, I guess, derivative it came from, which was 5, I assume? Meaning like, similar to the format now, multiple grades in 2 different buildings, same grade levels in 2 different buildings, a la what we have now. I take it that this consolidation of grade is based on that proposal? And my apologies for the simplicity of the question in terms of like, it's maybe well-covered territory, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear. This is basically a takeoff of standalone building replacement at Peebles, not the same purpose.
Correct.
And so my question is, how different is the cost that's related to that rollout and that plan from what we would consider to be option 5, which is build a standalone building, replacing essentially the entire function of Peebles right now?
Right, so that you're actually comparing, just for clarification, you're comparing 1A versus 5A.
My apologies.
1A,
versus
no, it's
five.
okay.
Yep,
1A is
thank
a
you.
replacement, and the MSBA has only allotted us enough construction for 250 students, which is a very small elementary school, which we believe at the current time, we're not gonna fit in that right away. That's our belief. That's some of the work that we've done on the school building committee. We believe with the 5A option, we're also, providing a great opportunity educationally for the Bourne community, as I just presented to you, but you're also getting, cost-wise, of course, the cost is going to be bigger because you're increasing the size of that building, but you're getting more for the dollar that you're investing in that building. The more, it's a cost per square foot. You'd be paying a far more for a 250 school versus a
60, or 60.
460 school,
60.
which would be the grades 3 through 5 school. And you're actually getting more reimbursement from the state on the 460.
Thank you.
No matter how you look at it, it's a very costly endeavor.
Yeah, no, building buildings is definitely expensive, no question. But the reimbursement for this public product is unlike any other public building that the town can undertake.
Correct.
That's the key takeaway, and that's the key message.
Right. As of
This
right-
level of reimbursement will not happen anywhere else. End of story.
As of right now, the estimate is over, and this is just projected estimates, is over $40 million for the school, but a $14 million reimbursement from the state for the 3 through 5. But again, what I'm bringing to you is bringing to you what the Bourne School Building Committee, which you have representation on, it has completed a straw vote and said unanimously, this is the direction we want to go in. So they're looking for you as a partner in this process at this point. And I know that there are members in the audience here who may want to add,
Sure.
or maybe not.
Mr. Chair, I've also got some thoughts on mitigations that I want to state publicly on this too, but don't want to trounce anybody else's opportunity to give initial thoughts or questions.
I have a handful of items to discuss as well, so, Anne Marie, do you have some things you want to add?
I just think some of the key things that stick out with me in the decision-making of this is, the transition piece, and the grade level equity. Those are really powerful and positive impacts that we can have on our students. You know, part of our vision and mission is aligning that curriculum vertically and horizontally, and again, in order to achieve that mission, this is certainly a step in the right direction for that as well. And I'm more focused, the RTI, response to intervention, becoming more focused. It's truly a very effective way to and methodology in our classrooms to teach our students and to teach all students within the classroom. So those are the PowerPoints, I guess, that stick out for me in the decision.
More efficient.
to
It will
support
be
this-
much more efficient.
To support this recommendation.
Okay, I'd maybe segue into some of the mitigation conversation that you have. I've been on the, this actually started with the facilities sub many years ago, and wiping tables after a hair remediation. And the idea that an SOI came through was, again, I would like to reiterate, it's been said at countless public meetings and videoed meetings and school building meetings, that it isn't just the town of Bourne that decided that something has to be done with Peoples. It's a state school building group. And unfortunately, because of the way the reimbursement package works, a bunch of red flags came up to me. There were several things that I personally wanted in the direction of the district. What I had foreseen was that, having worked with the budget for so long and the budget constraints that we have, and seeing the value of having of every penny, every dollar that's spent, and I'm not exaggerating or minimizing our process. It is to the dollar that we spend our money, and track our money and account for our money. So when I thought, my goodness, if we had one less building to take care of, one more and replaced by an extraordinarily efficient building, the dollars that we're not spending, we have the opportunity to focus on education and programs and things that we really make a difference, could really make a difference. Teaching isn't about a building. It's just where it happens. Teaching is about a program. It's about teachers. It's about students. It's about learning. We unfortunately spend so much of our time trying to provide a building in a location that's safe and equitable and fair to all the parties. People live on one side of the canal. People live on the other side of the canal. These are things that become real challenges for us, and we tend to overly focus on this. So my particular vision was reducing transitions. That was big for me. Was reducing buildings to maintain the costs and providing the very best we can in fairness to the community, the taxpayers of the community. So when the opportunity came up with an SOY and the feasibility study, we sort of pigeonholed ourselves into a very specific route. And Matt, what you're seeing is there, you know, at this point, I couldn't even tell you. MIM probably was a dozen options, maybe 8 or 9 options. There were A's, B's, C's, different letters, different numbers. There were a whole bunch of things. So try not to look into too much of 5 Alpha, because it's just a name. Really, 5 Alpha came out as a product, and again, it still raised red flags. It's a 4th building. We're still building, we're replacing Peebles. But if I were to give Superintendent LaMarche and Assistant Superintendent Sleesman, if I were to give you and your administration team and your professional staff at the school one giant marker to write on a whiteboard and say, draw me a district, with your experience, year 7, 8 now, I think, in year 8, would you, or year 7? Aren't you in year 7 now, though?
6.
6? I go 2009, I'm counting that. But still, in the time frame that you're here, could you grab it, and what would you draw on the board? What would the buildings look like? What would the transitions look like? I mean, I think you mentioned the ILC. I love the idea that would incorporate, secluding a student that has challenges and learning problems. I know that. My son is doing extraordinarily well in college right now. He was one of the students that came from a T1 program. I think I told you that. And the biggest problem he had with that process was the seclusion, was being removed from a class and having to be removed from a different building. I guess I really like how that's one of our positives in option 5A. So, but then yet we're adding another transition, as Anne Marie said. We are adding another transition. I like the fact that you provide data, that year 3 years in a school is the key. That are transitions. I like the fact that the transitions are all going to be together. The students are all staying class by class by class, so it is expected that not 1 or 2 or a small group of students are transitioning. But the other thing that I would reiterate is that we're not talking about a few students. We're talking about 3/4 of the students of this district are going to be affected by this change. And that's a no small amount of impact. So, I'm starting to warm to the idea, I'm thinking outside of the box, how we can save some money. Some of the opportunities that this does open for us. It does, I kind of feel to me that this has an opportunity now to rebuild a district on an educational basis, not a building basis. We're going to have to mitigate some of these concerns. Busing, that's a huge one. I know it's going to be that. We have to be prepared as a group because it's not going to fall on the school building committee. It's going to fall on this committee. So some of those issues we're going to have to sell ourselves and work hard to develop a program that can alleviate those concerns. But then again, there could be a silver lining there too, with start times, school start times, and things that we might be able to modify and have an opportunity to adjust. I see you smiling, Heather. So I personally, yes, this is a lot of information to be hit with at first. It was a very good presentation, Steve. Thank you. I like that we have pros and cons to look at. Certainly, as Matt hinted upon, concern for the staff impact and to understand what that staff impact is. Of course, I'm thinking, if we move the 5th grade over to the Peebles, those teachers that are missing part of their class can just walk over the hill and they're at Peebles now, and they're, just provide them a golf cart and we're all set. I realize it's not that simple. I recognize that. And I just want everybody else to recognize that it's not that simple. But then it's something that it might just be a good problem to have, something good for us to work toward. So I reiterate to you both, to everybody out there that's listening right now at home, part of our professional staff, to you folks, is the support. What would that white marker, if you all grabbed that white marker and drew on the whiteboard, and dry erase marker, and drew a district on the board for Bourne, having the experience that you have now, what would it look like? Because, let's face it, as you started the conversation, would we be having this conversation if we didn't have an opportunity, if we hadn't received the SOI? Is the problem broken? Or is this just an opportunity to make it that much better? So, Mr. Stewart.
Couple of things that I think are really important for the whole town, and given that this is the last opportunity that a couple of us will have on the committee to speak publicly on this, other than at an open mic at a future discussion, I really want to go on record
3
as
minutes.
highlighting a couple of things. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That way you got 2 times.
That won't be the last time we do that tonight, just so that you know.
I'm kidding.
A couple of things that I think are important and cannot be glossed over, because they're genuine concerns that community members have, and they're really important. The canal, it's so much commerce to the northeast. I'm a Coast Guardsman, and I know how much commerce it provides, but what a pain in the neck for our community, right? It's not getting filled in. Let's just be crystal clear about that, ever, in all likelihood. So we are going to live with it, and we're going to live with it well. And it requires bus trips, and it requires movement of people and commerce across the bridges that are defunct and old, and until we get a third bridge and until Shangri-La happens, we're going to have to deal with the canal. I do, however, agree that particularly for our youngest aged students, that less time on the bus is better. One of the major mitigations that has to be addressed is shortening the routes in such a way as to consolidate bodies to get from the farthest reaches of our community to the school that they need to attend. In particular, for the 2 younger early elementary and mid-grade elementary grades. And so if it requires that we adjust the bus schedule and consolidate and lump in a way, it's going to take some creativity, but to be clear, we also have transportation software advantages that we absolutely did not have even 5 or 10 years ago. Forget about 20 or 30 years ago, when pretty much a map and a pencil was your best friend to try to figure out what a bus route would look like, right? Those days are past us. We can now use technology to say, here's how you route, here's how we come up with the right way to do this in the most efficient way to minimize time. Yes, there'll be traffic, but there's traffic all of the time. That's the community we live in. And for the point of reference, we all chose to live in this town. And we did so with the understanding that there's huge upsides, and that we also live with our community members who visit us from Connecticut and New Jersey and all around the country to come and enjoy the Cape, right? Good for them, and frankly, good for us for our economy. But the reality is that it does come with some problems. Those can be mitigated. And to me, the advantages of having synergy develop amongst our teaching staff at like grade levels is much more critical. When we talk about, I agree with a lot of this public comments and sentiment so far that says it's not the building, it's the teachers, it's the students, it's the community that you do. There's no question about that, and I fervently uphold that idea. The challenge, of course, is that with a dilapidated building that has to be replaced and simply not enough space to fit, as has been suggested by a lot of folks, 3 buildings as we are currently constituted into those grade levels. It's not possible to do. It can't be done. Not without huge loss in services and huge other challenges. So that's not an option for us. Peebles is a wreck. There's no good way to say it. It's a lovable, venerable building, but it is a mess, and we cannot do this anymore.
Safe for our students.
It's still safe for our students. Thank you very much, Mr. Rooney. I'm speaking passionately, knowing this is my last opportunity to speak on this subject. The reality, though, because I've heard it, do we need it? Do we need it? Do we need it? And the answer is crystal clear. Yes, we absolutely do. We need to sort of get past that, but it bears reiterating at every opportunity that we have to reinforce that point. I think it's really critical. Probably the single biggest challenge for me, as someone who's been on this committee for a long time, has been a teacher in this community, my involvement now dates back to the year 2000, is in the idea that a full-day kindergarten that is a public service and a public expectation, that is most critical for our most at-risk kids, that, oh, by the way, if we're not taken care of well early on, will have the most challenging times as they become more veteran students through high school. Dropout rates will increase. Other challenges are fostered by our students who are most at risk. And the way in which to reach those students most effectively and best, hands down, end of story, not even close, is a full-day kindergarten program, frankly, even a full pre-K program, to get those students the help that they need early on for learning disabilities to overcome emotional shortcomings and other challenges that they might face at a young age. That's where we get them. That pays it forward to take care of our other student needs and mitigate those challenges as they become middle school age students and high school age students and productive members of our community. That's where it has to start. The plan to replace the building includes full-day K across the board. We accept that. But the idea that the full-day kindergarten teachers and others would all be together all the time, to ask assistance of one another in the same building all the time, to me, trumps just about everything else. All the other advantages that we've noted, great as they are, the opportunity for collegiality amongst like grade levels, I think, should frankly, trump everything else. The thing I would ask, understand that there's increased transitions. As someone who bounced back and forth from the base on this in our town to Sagamore to Stoll School, no one even remembers these names anymore. That's fine. It's now the library. To say I survived it and did very well would be cavalier and disingenuous. It isn't fun zigzagging across the four corners of the town. So I'm sensitive to the transportation time. We need to mitigate that. I'd be very interested, as many community members have suggested, about our outreach with like-minded and recently changed towns that have gone to like grade level systems to learn from their experience and take advantage of that. I suspect informally we certainly already have, knowing the team that we have here. But that opportunity presents itself. At the end of the day, the smart move is the one which creates the learning spaces and the learning opportunities that advance our community, and students knowing each other who happen to be living here for the 12 years of their education from early grade levels on up. The bonds get formed, the opportunities that they have to learn from each other, the accelerated opportunities that colleagues have who are working most closely with our kids, pretty much trumps everything else. And I'm very much in favor of this process with the understanding that we've got to address the mitigations. They are real. We're introducing new challenges. We have to go in eyes wide open to meet those challenges. But the building is absolutely necessary for the viability of our community in the future, for the strengthening of our tax base in the future, and being a fiscal conservative, certainly on our team here, constantly beating the drum about counting our pennies and so forth. The reality is that those factors about expanding our tax base over time, because our school system continues to improve as it has been, those are the kinds of things we need to be considering for the long haul. Super excited to speak about those when the time comes at town meeting, but for the moment, that's where I stand, and I appreciate it. But I would just ask that those mitigations not be left behind. Thank you.
Can I
You
make
have
one
some-
more statement?
Yes,
Just one more thing.
course.
Because my first one was a question, sorry. So I know that there's a lot of emphasis on the transitions, but one of the things that I picked up on, Sue, from what you were talking about, careers and, being adapting and flexible, I actually think this is a great opportunity for our little tiny town to be able to teach about transition and help people understand and develop tools for transitioning. I do know of towns where, the children, the students are in the same, basically in the same spot and the same, all the way through, and they don't have those transitions. And then when it comes to when they're 18 and they're going off, they really are clueless. And so we do have to teach, purposely teach, and this is an opportunity, I think, purposely teach what tools people can have to go through transition. That helps them in success for life. So I know it's seen as a, a scary thing, but I think that, I think there are a lot of smart people in the system who can help with that transition.
Public, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to ask
Oh,
next, I
sorry.
want to make sure. I'd like to hear from anybody in the community that might like to speak on this. Unless we've already said it. Okay, so shall I entertain?
Motion?
We have a proposed motion.
I have
If
a
someone like to make
proposed
one.
motion, to support the Bourne School Building Committee in its recommendation to the Bourne School Building Authority in requesting consideration for redistricting of grade spans only in the event the town of Bourne so votes to support construction of a new school.
So moved.
Let's mull that over a little bit.
I'd like, seemed like it had all the points.
Well,
New elementaries. No.
now that the motion's been made, do we have a second? Or,
Judy.
okay. So for discussion, I just want to throw it on the table. Let's, not to be very blunt or very clear, if we don't build a building, in all likelihood, there are going to be challenges for us to be able to accomplish this. I mean, ultimately, if nothing is built in the People's location, and we reach that point where it is just extraordinarily cost prohibitive to bring People's to code, to maintain occupancy in People's, what the town is expecting the school committee to do, to provide, as far as safety and working conditions. I think that, but I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that we have potentially a blueprint for a district that works. And maybe we know we can't implement this on the timetable without a new school based on the SOI, based on the work of the school committee, the school building committee. But is this something that we want to say, by golly, this is what this district should be moving forward to, and remove the last section of that statement? It's just for discussion.
In my opinion, I'd say leave it alone for now, and then if it looks like the building doesn't pass, then we can revisit it in the future anyways, as a committee. But this way, we wouldn't define it now, but it leaves it open for interpretation later. This is just to keep it forward and help the school building committee with the Mass School Building Authority on this proposal. I don't disagree with your sentiment. I'm just saying for now, I think this would be the best way to leave that in there. And then if we as a district committee down the road want to move it forward sooner or faster, then we could always revisit that.
I'm just for discussion, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's two separate conversations, even though they seem tied together across grade spans. They're very different scenarios, looking at those grade spans within an existing building as opposed to a new building. I think there's some additional challenges that we need to have more conversations about in that scenario. But I think for the purposes of moving forward in supporting the building committee, that I would request we not remove the town vote consideration.
Any other discussion?
I'm not sure if you want to put option 5A in there, just to,
I had originally put that in there, and then I took it out. So, I mean, it is option 5A
it's
is
the only option with
option
grade spans,
that,
correct.
that
Correct.
would be considered for redistricting grade spans. So I wasn't sure if it was redundant to have it in there or not.
I actually think it's probably best to keep it out only because it may be renamed something else.
Right.
Shortly. So, maybe the option. Okay, so I'd like to put it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Very,
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you on behalf of the building committee for this guidance. It's really needed it. We're sort of at an impasse with this process. I'm very impressed with what I've seen on here tonight. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Howell.
you.
Thank you.
I don't know if he was thanking me, sorry.
It was a team effort, excellent. Okay, action on the school calendar, 2016, 2017, Superintendent LaMarche.
Mr. Chairman of the School Committee, we did find a number of errors. I mean, this is one of those things that you could stare at and think that you got it right, and you don't have it right. But I think what you have in front of you is a reflection of the feedback we received, and a reflection of the, again, recommendation from the administrative team as well as the superintendent's office for 2016-17 school year calendar. It's, as you see at the top, it's draft 412, which was the original presentation, version 2. It has all of the dates and times in it. Please note that the calendar, you are passing a calendar for next year to be published. If there was, in the event that there was a change or something adjusted, you would have to take another vote to make that change, which it clearly indicates on the bottom of this 2016-17 school year calendar. So it's in your hands as a committee.
Okay, any conversation? Anybody would like to ask the superintendent questions from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the 2016-17 calendar as printed.
Second.
Any comment, first, any comments from the public? Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I know the one date, and I tried to put the information in there, is November 8th. There was some questions as to why we would schedule something on November 8th and then also have Veterans Day on the 11th. November 8th is a national election day. We're not alone across the state. Our schools are closing for in-service day because of the, this has been a trend that's been happening for a number of years, and I think that some people are safely predicting that this could be quite the election season coming in November of this year. I'm not sure why. But
It might go down as a national holiday.
it may go down.
I just want to reiterate too, I received 27 email by two phone calls and 27 email comments. Most of them I forwarded to you unless they were duplicates or basically saying the same thing. And most of them related to some of our emissions from the previous distributed, is that right?
Distributed, yeah.
What we gave out. And, sorry. And then there were some other comments here specific. I'm happy with the responses that were provided these people, and I have not seen anything come back yet, so.
Well, the other date that raises questions by anybody is the January 2nd, and why that is considered a day. Because the new year, January 1st, falls on a Sunday, the actual national holiday is recognized on that Monday. So there are other districts who've chosen to open up on the 2nd. I don't know how they're doing that, but we're going to follow the federal regulations around what's considered a national holiday because it does fall on the 1st, on a Sunday.
Very good, very good. And this meets a lot of our specific challenges, such as, that it's very flexible, such as November 8th, and some of the other things that we've talked about with getting the students back before school starts, getting them warmed up before Labor Day. I mean, those are some good value. We've briefed those before, so. Any other discussion? I have a motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
And that gets posted right away, right, on the,
Yeah, for next year, that's right.
so people can start planning.
No, come on up.
Next one.
Okay, item number 6 is BHS request to admit a foreign exchange student.
Students, sorry. Mr.
Students.
Chairman. Yeah,
Oh, my.
I forgot the S, sorry.
Look at that. A little light reading.
Lots of detail. So, Mr. Chairman of School Committee, this is, it's a presentation by the high school principal to you. It's your approval by policy. Bourne Public Schools accepts up to 2 foreign exchange students, and I think this is the first year that we're actually bringing them all in on kind of a good timing, before. Sometimes we've scrambled in the summertime, if you recall, but Ms. Setner has been working really well with the outside agencies to ensure
Thank you.
that we have a lot of the information, or all of the information, so that you can make this recommendation at this time of the year. So do you want me to turn it over to?
Please, yes.
Thank you. This information, as Mr. Lamarche just indicated, it came in very recently. I didn't want to wait until the June meeting to ask permission because this involves a lot of paperwork once it's approved on our end for the students and their families to organize and get ready. We do have for your consideration 2 students that we've received applications from 2 different agencies. One I'm familiar with, one I'm not as familiar with. However, I can say the communication with both agencies has been really excellent along the way. The first one is Angelina Lezic. She is from Germany. She would be entering as a junior.
It's the second one in your binder. Just, you know.
We can probably figure that out, I hope. Thank you.
She'd be hosted by a local family, Mr. and Mrs. Bilodeau, who live in Bourne. And unfortunately, because the information has been coming in so rapidly and last minute. I haven't had a chance to touch base with either host family, and I'm waiting for information on the second student's host family as well. However, I feel really confident in the experiences that we've had with this program and with the students that we've had thus far. Every year we've taken on a couple of exchange students. We find it valuable for both our students at Bourne High School, and I know they're very, very excited to join us and be a part of our community. So we've just had wonderful success, and it's great that we get the applications in advance and we can read a little bit about them as our youth through their application process. So we do feel that Angelina would be a great fit for Bourne High School. The next student that we would like to ask for your consideration. The student's name is Pirapat Threkaisery. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. He is from Thailand. He goes by P. In his application, he says that students do refer to him as P. Again, another student who would be entering grade 11 next year. Grade 11 really is the ideal. The ideal situation for our students. They're able to come at a time when they have a couple of years under their belt in their experience in schooling. They're able to join our students who also have a couple of years under their belt, if you will. They're able to go to the junior prom. They're able to participate in all junior-related activities. So it really is an ideal match. We have had students in grade 10 as well. We have one this year who's in grade 10 who's doing a phenomenal job. However, the junior year is also just equally exciting for them. And it's amazing to me how much they know about a junior prom. Even though they don't experience them, in their countries, still, they know all about the prom. So it's an exciting adventure for them to come and join us for the year. And like I said, it's just been a wonderful experience that we'd like to continue.
Motion to accept 2 foreign exchange students for the 2016-2017
I have a question.
school year as presented.
I second that.
Second, okay, now discussion.
Sorry. Do we know what his father's business is?
No, actually, in the application materials, it doesn't get into detail in terms of what the father does as his business. It says that he's the business owner and he runs the business, but it doesn't specify in the application what business it is.
I like the fact that his position is boss.
Right.
Generally, these are AFS vets, a lot of their students in the application
We've worked with
process.
AFS multiple times, yes.
And the only thing I see lacking on our side necessarily is my recollection, we usually have an opportunity to meet with the host family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're kind of ahead of the game on this one, and we're going to leave that.
We really are.
Right.
To be honest with you, we really are ahead of the game with respects to that. Like I said, the materials literally. One application I received and opened this morning, and I forwarded it immediately, the second application, because we would like to, again, this is all pending, obviously. The school nurse will be reviewing the health records and so forth. So we want to make sure that we have completed applications. I assure you that we will make sure we do our due diligence around that as well.
Is it just me thinking that we don't know what the parents do for a living is kind of a big
Our focus
kind
with
of
the
information?
I understand your question. Our focus with the application process is primarily focused on the students and their experiences and what they're bringing to Bourne High School for their experiences, their interests. We also, consider, as you'll see in there, they do get recommendations and placement in terms of reading, writing, speaking in the language, in our language, in English. So our focus is primarily more on the student and their application process, and less on, what the parents may or may not do for a living.
I would think that would be a big indicator of their experiences, what their parents do for a living and what they're bringing. I mean, I think my kids would identify with what their parents do and bring those experiences with them. So I would just in the off chance that it was something not good.
If I can just say something, I've been to Bangkok, I've been to Thailand, and it's a country of small businesses. That's what it is. Everybody is a business owner. Food, shops, taxis, you name it. It's a country of businesses, small business owners.
I don't doubt that at all. It just seems like that would be an appropriate follow-up question. in the
Sure,
paperwork.
I could certainly follow up on that and let the committee know
Just
what
to
that
have
is.
something that, what small business is it? What do you deal in? What goods, what things like that?
Right. And you can see that it's limited space and information about the parents. It's more about the student and their experiences. It's really focused on them. But I would certainly be more than happy to ask that follow-up question. They're great getting right back to me with any kind of questions or follow-up questions that you may have or I may have. So I have no problem following up on that and getting back to the committee on that. Again, all of this, all of this is pending the absolute completion of paperwork, answering any questions that you have.
May I ask you, just to confirm, so you said Angelina's got a host family, and does our friend P, does he have a host family?
He
yet?
does have a host family in town. It actually is a family who wanted for consideration a student last year. By the time they contacted me, it was late June, early July, and unfortunately we had both of our slots filled. So I really felt committed to this, to AFS and to this process, to let them know that I would bring it forward today and that I would work with this family. So, that's why, I brought it forward even though I received the application materials this morning. I just felt it was necessary to honor in good faith my promise last year to this family that if they got me the materials ahead of time and in time and in an appropriate manner, that I would do my best to ensure that they would be able to have this experience, because it's a great experience for the host family as well.
Right.
And they're taking on a lot when they're taking in, a student for the entire year. There's a lot of commitment on their end as well. So if they're committed to providing us that experience, I'm definitely interested in supporting that.
Yeah, you just hear so many, you see the signs out, host families needed.
Right.
You go, I
Right.
just wanna make sure
And
it's got a place.
unfortunately, and that's what happens. Unfortunately, we get inundated with requests in late June, July. It's really, really short notice. And I'm pleased. This is probably the earliest in the school year I've ever received applications. So I was really pleased with that process.
And is there a screening process for the host families?
Yes, a very strict screening process for them, yeah.
Mr. Chairman of the School Committee, since I've been here, we've hosted families every year. We've had great success. I can only think of one student that didn't work out, and it was just a myriad of things as to why it didn't work out, but we've had great success for the 6 years that I've been here, so
Still remember
this is just...
Last year, a student sitting on the grid on this.
2 years ago.
Ceremony.
That was
Yeah,
2 years
2
ago.
years ago. Yeah, that was
Yep.
it was really the school really got behind the student.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's kind of a special thing. Okay, well, we have a motion on the table, and it's been seconded, and we've had some discussion. Any input from the audience? Okay, I'll like to take it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions?
I
Okay.
have one.
Abstention?
Give an abstention?
Okay. Do we vote them separately?
Not the way I wrote the motion.
Okay. All right.
I know,
And-
do we do anything about who they are? Because the motion is
No.
general.
That's printed, right?
As presented.
That's printed.
Okay. Oh, that
So
is-
then I will just reference the
That's
supplementary
fine.
notes, yeah.
And
Or-
this
No,
will be-
good point, good point, good point.
In the minutes, the document.
it's cool.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman of the School Committee, you have, under student regulations and student records laws, you have some very detailed information there. I would ask you not to distribute that, share that, leave it out in some incidental place or something like that, and even if, return it if you'd like to, but you have a lot of detailed information in there regarding these
Yes,
two students.
So if we return it, can we just stick it,
leave
You
keep
can,
it in the
yes, just
notebook?
leave it in the binder and we'll take care of it.
that's a good idea. Thank you for
Duly
that,
noted.
Steve. Thank you. Okay, next up,
Thank you.
we have, I believe, an out-of-state field trip request.
Mr. Chairman, is it okay if Ms. Setner, she has long days, long nights, early start, earliest in
Oh,
the district.
I think another hour. Please, thank you, Ms. Sedna, thank
Thank
you
you,
for your
Principal
help
Sedna.
tonight.
I can speak to the field trip.
Please, thank you.
Okay, this is an annual request. I think it's become a tradition at Peoples Elementary School that the first graders go to the Roger Williams Park Zoo in Providence, Rhode Island. And every year at this time, it comes before the board to approve. It has my approval, and I'm willing to answer any questions you might have.
It's a great trip.
That's
It
what
really
I keep
is. I mean,
hearing.
yeah, no, it's outstanding. Kids get a lot out of it, so,
And it's sponsored, I mean,
PTA, right?
yeah.
that's right.
One
Great
thing I do
collaboration.
want to say is that, you know, we get there's been a lot of misinformation out there about the Common Core, and of course, the Common Core is part of the Massachusetts State Frameworks. And I think one of the misconceptions is that everybody has to do the exact same thing all the time, and that's not true. This is an example of where Peoples chooses to go to the Rogers Williams Zoo to have kids learn firsthand about life cycles. And Bournedale chooses to do something else for kids in first grade to learn about life cycles. So it is a, I just wanted to put that out there, that all the students don't have to be doing exactly the same thing to learn the same concepts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the out-of-state field trip for grade 1 Peoples Elementary School students to attend Roger Williams Zoo in Rhode Island during the 2016-2017 school year.
Second?
Oh, moved.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. And seconded, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, and
Opposed?
Chris seconded.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you. The motion carries. There were no abstentions, correct? Okay, sorry, I didn't ask. Okay, next up on the agenda, we have item number 8, dissemination of the superintendent evaluation program. I think I circulated quite a bit of information to folks this past couple of weeks digitally, and it's all public information. It's the rubric that we use to do our summative evaluation report for the superintendent. I just wanted to, there's a couple of things that may be missing, and I'm not sure, I'd like to provide that for you over the next week. We, generally speaking now, we disseminate the information, we look at the rubric, we talk a little bit about the proposal, and then over the next 2 months, we start collecting data. So it is time to start completing this. This is what we're looking for, to have everybody do for the next, most of us, to have everyone do for the next meeting. But I did want to talk about the time schedule of this, and I've done a little bit of research regarding this. And one of the things that bothers me a little bit, and I know because Judy will remember, myself,
I remember.
and Erica, you're going to have an opportunity to get exposed to this right away,
Why?
is that as soon as you are a member of the board, and the moment you're a member of the board, you start working on an evaluation for the superintendent, who you may or may not know, but you probably are not immersed with the work that he and his team have been doing. Again, this school committee is, one of their primary roles is the hiring and the evaluation of the superintendent. We are a company, and we are the board of this company, and our CEO is Mr. LaMarche, our superintendent. And we target him with vision and mission and directives, and we give him some money, and we say, go at it. And how does he do a year later? I mean, actually, it's a whole lot more than that, of course. But they're based on some of our discussions. I did not do a very good job in presenting this material last year. We were a little late. There was a lot of things going on between the finance project working, no excuses. It just didn't do a good job. And poor Judy, I didn't explain it to her very well, and she wrote a Bible and developed her own report. It was extraordinary. I think it's in the Smithsonian right now.
Thank you very much.
But I now am aware that what has to happen is, I want to provide you with examples from over, I don't know, maybe the last several years. You can get an idea as to see exactly that we actually have assessments and SMART goals already in place that we're looking for the superintendent. And certainly we can develop and change and modify those as needed, but we have adapted this program. And part of adapting this program, as you've heard, is this educator evaluation system. Superintendent LaMarche is an educator. He is our CEO, but he is an educator, and therefore part of the education evaluation system, and governed by those requirements. For example, Superintendent LaMarche, by next meeting, I think will have his self-assessment available for us. The idea of this process, the cycle, and Erica, so you can kind of catch your speed on this, is reviewing, and look at I gave you 2 documents, they're 30 and 40 pages max, both, they're really quick reads. One of them is just a presentation of the 2012, when this was introduced, the 2012, from, I think it was our Massachusetts Association of School Committees. And I think they talked about how we could go about utilizing this program. And it works good. I think it's great. One of the key components of this is an opportunity for one-on-one, for you to meet with Steve and talk about what your concerns are, what your observations are, the reflections on working with the superintendent, working with the administration team, working with the district as a school, as a representative of the community. That's key. You're representative of the community, but your own things that you bring, the own observations, are critical to this. This is about people. It's not about a process. It's really about people. And that's key. That's the core of this at heart. So the comments you make, I will reiterate though, this is public. We're doing it in front of the TV. We will always do this in front of the TV. The only thing that theoretically would be private would be your one-on-one conversations with the superintendent that you organize. The things that you write are public documents. The little numbers that we have, and I create a little spreadsheet, and that's how this whole thing kind of comes together, to develop a uniform tool for the superintendent to work with and develop to improve his own performance over the next year. That is a public process as well. The comments that you provide for me as a chair, all I do is collect, put them in a format that we can all read, and disseminate it. And we would like to do this publicly sometime in our July, August meeting. I know sometimes we have a July meeting twice, or an August meeting twice, or a June meeting twice, or something, so we can avoid meeting in July. So those are some of the concerns we have to look at. But that's what I really wanted to put a bug in your ear, because we're about to have a fairly extensive changeover of the board. A new member, and I'm not speaking for you, Erica, but a new member might not have an opinion yet. And therefore, the information they're going to report is either it's going to be NA, where they don't have the information, and so therefore it tends to water down the value of that rubric, of that response, or it becomes mirrored to align with what did you put down, Mitch? I don't really know, that kind of thing. So I actually, and there's been some discussions about this. I did a little research and found out that some school committees tend to do the evaluation on a September to September basis. Some of them do the evaluation just after elections, like we do, and I can't understand why that would be in place. Because we're about to lose some extraordinarily experienced, veteran, valuable opinions. And so I would also, as a sidebar, ask that those extraordinary veterans with valuable opinions,
Your last task.
as their last task, complete an evaluation process. I know you necessarily can't vote on it.
We knew that you were leading up to this very. We gave each other the eyeball early on and realized that's the spot. And I am very glad to weigh in.
My favorite.
Much fun as line item budgets. It's a good opportunity.
Thank you. I was looking for something to do this
Well, you
weekend.
really hate line item budgets.
Really, yeah.
I'm happy to provide feedback, realizing that it is just a tool for the
It
group
is.
and can't be incorporated in the kind of way that it would be obviously if we're still on the committee.
Well, the only thing is that you wouldn't have an opportunity to necessarily vote the final summation, but I think that,
I don't know that there's necessarily a vote for the final summation as there is.
We just kinda
a
present it, don't
public
we?
Yeah, I
presentation.
don't remember.
yeah.
Oh, no,
We
no.
we don't need to vote.
We vote to, we do take a vote at some point to accept it. If by
That makes
consensus for
sense.
no other reason, because the superintendent has a thing at the end, right, has a product. This is your evaluation that we
We are
developed
required
with
to
you.
give him, according to the regulations, we are required to give him that evaluation.
Right, but it's
So
a
there's really
consensus,
no
it's a
vote
consensus
to-
evaluation, and I don't. The point is it's a summative
say.
thing.
Correct. And
Somebody,
so I'm thinking that we also have an opportunity, and can, and some districts do, I think the really large ones with lots of staff, will do a midterm evaluation as well. And I actually think we should, we may be by requirement. And I also did a little research. I'm not so sure we're required to do an evaluation of the superintendent as well. Because he's received proficient for the last 3 years or better. And he's you're not on probation or status or anything like that. So he would be, normal ed eval would be 3 years, correct?
Not for administrators.
There every single year?
Yeah.
I just,
the
there is a
building
document,
level
there is a
administrators can be
document I
every
read
year.
that does give him some
Building
relief.
level.
Building
Yeah,
level can
not
be every other year,
superintendent.
right.
Well, I did find some relief somewhere in there that might be an opportunity to explore.
We could choose to put them on a 2-year plan, if you want to.
Well, no, I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm just
Two-year
thinking,
cycle.
so I think the best approach really, as I've kind of talked this out with you folks, is really maybe we just do this, get this done, and make the next one in February, and then go to something,
We can
or
do a
something
mid-
like
yeah, we can do a mid-year cycle review.
just, the problem is I'm also looking at tasks, Steve, for your budget preparation that you're working with prior to the March, usually you present in March. And if you're also having to do a self-assessment in January, is that too much? I mean,
All too much, as Heather can attest to.
yes, I guess, so you see that we're not caught in a particular trap of having new members. We're fortunately, the way this business is that we do get new members and old members exit. And we want to provide value to that process. And I just think that that's something that,
We can take a look at the timeline, sure. I think that'd be a good conversation.
but you're all comfortable with continuing on this process now the way it is? Okay, so, for Erica, and I'm happy to work with you specifically, over this, just give you some direction.
And you learn from you.
Yeah,
2 more.
I still feel bad about that, Judy. I'll never forget when I started reading your summary, I'm like, wow, where did she get that? Man,
Yeah.
I'm very smart.
yes, it was- I just don't want you to have to go, she probably spent 2 weeks on that
I
one.
want to look at it now.
Yeah, it was good, it was good, it's public.
It was pretty much in line, too,
Well,
with what the
see,
report
that's-
was.
But the- And I'd be happy to do this, I don't know, March 18th, or May 18th if you wanted to, with maybe some accompaniment, but I just would have to have a specified workshop, because I think we might even have a quorum at that time. So it would be something would have to be exclusive. We're talking about, we'll probably have a couple of new members, we hope, after the 17th. 17th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Tuesday.
And Tuesday. So, I think that it might be a good idea, but of course, if we want to have a little workshop for new members, a welcoming workshop, I would have to post it and so on, and which is certainly feasible, something we can do. And I don't want that process to necessarily hold up the evaluation, so I think, boy, this would be an awfully good welcome. Hello. Okay, so, that's my dissemination. Most of you are experienced in this process. I do want to say thank you. Is this the segue?
Yes.
I do want to say thank you to both of you for agreeing to fill this out. And you can remove the bamboo from your fingernails. Okay,
I should have my self-evaluation done by next week at the latest.
okay. And then you'll
That'd be
circulate that?
Yes, that'll be
Okay,
out to
great,
everybody.
excellent. So then when would you suggest the individual meetings? In the next month and a half, or?
Yeah, between now and July 1st would be great.
Okay, so everybody has an to do that? Okay, great. Okay, next up on the agenda, we just wanted to take a few minutes. I think I'd like to just start with, it is our last meeting for a couple of our school committee members. Personally, I can tell you that there are a couple of people who'd like to say a few words, but Matt Stook and Heather DiPaolo, they're my buds, my pals, because not that you all aren't, but I mean, Anne Marie, Matt, and Heather and I, Matt recruited me. I'll get him. Actually, I think he recruited quite a few of us.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. But I will tell you this, I'd just like to open the door that both Heather and Matt, they taught me a lesson personally. I grew personally. They taught me about community spirit, so we're going to take turns, I think, talking a little bit about our respective members. And first, I'd like to start with Heather. Heather was, I didn't know Heather, and I should have. She's a veteran of community involvement. Library committee now, your 9th year.
Yep.
Is it the library?
Library trustee, yes.
Library trustee. Recycling Committee, I have a list that I was writing as I was going through. I can't even, Mob. Mothers are Born. You started that.
Yep.
You started the Mob.
Born Mob, that's right.
And I actually
We're very
know-
civil. We don't, no roughing in the streets. We're good.
Not that I'm aware of, no. But I know of some of the things that you've done, like many of you at the schools have seen the little libraries in different places around town. That was some of the work that the trustees of the library did. I thought that was great to, hey, if you can't get to the library, we'll bring it to you. I thought that was spectacular. And then on the recycling committee as well, yeah, hey, single stream.
That's
Yep.
right.
Is that right?
That's right,
All
it's happening.
Good. And that
Ours
next
will be
is.
delivered by August 1st.
Right.
Just can't
So-
have that meeting.
So, but I can tell you that the first opportunity we had to work with Heather was one of my first meetings in the facilities sub when we were dealing with O'Hara. And at the asbestos remediation that became very stressful a few years ago at the Peebles Middle School, Peebles, Freudian slip,
Intermediate school. Yeah.
Intermediate, right.
at the Peebles School, where Heather was the representative, the liaison from the PTA, and it just after the second meeting, the people, Laura Senna, myself, Catherine Walton, were like, we gotta get her. She's very good, and it turned out that she was able to fill a vacant position on the board. And then she ran. I remember her little colored handprints on her board. But it's been a great experience having Heather on board. I love her sense of humor. But what's best about her is a direct, clear approach to asking questions. Doesn't try to find the right words, just says what's on her mind, and that's always, always the best approach, in my opinion. So,
Seriously, 8 trees.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
You get
yes.
that one.
Negotiations will never be the same. But I just wanted to say thank you, and we have a couple of parting gifts and a large check. Not so much.
No, so much.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Matt Stuck and I began our journey about 6 years ago together. That's when I first met Matt, at our very first school committee meeting. And at the time, he was really quiet. I recall that meeting. He didn't speak very much.
This is Matt Stuck.
I'm like, wow, this guy's awfully quiet. But he's not shy to commitment, and his commitment to the education of our students in Bourne didn't begin 6 years ago. It began back in 2000 when he was an educator at the Bourne High School, math teacher. But you've taught me many things along the way. You taught me to be a bean counter. You taught me to be a rock hunter and to continue to hunt for that rock. But more importantly, you taught me to always remember the greater good and why we're here. And the success of our students has been directly impacted by your compassion and commitment and dedication. Your knowledge, your vision that you bring to this committee and to this community is second to none. And we are truly grateful and thankful for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're not gonna keep talking, are we?
My comments are very short. But we do have parting gifts. The purple one's for Matt and the white one is for Heather.
Okay.
It's not what you think it is, both of you.
Oh, okay. A mug. I was gonna take the mug on the way home.
You don't like
Maybe it is
that?
what you think it is. Then maybe it is what you think it is, Heather.
Oh, okay.
I thought people would be looking for the apple. There's no apple.
And then
in
we
there,
have a
so-
couple of pictures for
Oh,
you.
wow.
There you go. That is Bourne. Has the canal.
Wow.
You caught all the schools. Well done.
Yes.
No easy feat.
And it is very, very, very recent. You might have had noise complaints today over the school.
Flybys.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Aw.
I'm really grateful.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Just,
Thank you.
again, remember that Bourne is a better place for you both having been here, as you can see from the picture. It's a beautiful place. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Into the room, everybody standing.
Thank you. I just quickly will say that I cannot believe how much work it takes to run these schools. And I mean, besides the school committee work, I'm just saying, just the people and the dedication is been wonderful to watch. And I'm just more in love with this district, really. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
3 minutes.
So just a couple of quick messages. One to colleagues on the committee. Thanks for your work. Thanks for the support when I was chair, when it was just seemingly chaotic and we were sort of figuring out new processes. We were trying new things. We were switching buildings. We were having meetings in different spots. We were addressing a whole host of challenges for the district. There were times where we did perhaps more outside our swim lane than might normally be expected of a school committee. There were times where we were splintered in our attention in multiple places at once, and it's a tremendous amount of work. And for those that I asked to be part of all this, recruited, in the words of the chairperson here, I'm grateful that you took the plunge, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity to have worked with you. It's been awesome. It validates public service, frankly. And that can't be said of all volunteer service all the time, but it's absolutely true for this group, and I'm optimistic that we're definitely leaving it in terrifically capable hands. I want to thank specifically the administration team and all the faculty and teachers who have just done an awesome job with our district on a very minimal, very Spartan, I would say, budget over the last, certainly, experience that I've had for this last 16 years, and done so with grace and methodology and sophistication, stretching every dollar, making everything count. Thank you. Steve, I want to thank you specifically and publicly as a person whose journey caused me to start even before I began with Anne Marie Sarunian 6 years ago on your hiring committee. You work harder than anyone else I know, and I'm in the service, and I work with a lot of very industrious people. You have absolutely, and although it hasn't always been easy, you've taken the right road, the hard road. You've put the interests of the students first, and it's not just pablum, and it's not just words to say. You drink the Kool-Aid you make, and I'm grateful for that. I couldn't have asked for a better executive leader. This town got everything that it needed and more from you and from the team that you've assembled. I need to thank you personally for what an awesome experience that it's been for me. And thank you. I've learned a ton from you. I really appreciate it. And finally, to the public at large, I will say only this. It's important that we volunteer and we commit to our communities. It's vital that even if only for a short period of time, and even if you can only do 60% of what you think a position demands, that you can contribute to the greater good of what our community needs. And it needs committed people. It needs people to take an interest in a topic and be enthusiastic and passionate about it. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to have the sophistication level. That's why we hire professional people to give all the backstory and all the granularity that's needed. We get to ask common sense questions and go to a lot of meetings to ask even more questions and learn and then make decisions. I'm grateful for the fact that in a country like ours, we have levels of government such that as a volunteer, as a person who is simply just running for a short office, you can be in a position where you're influencing local decisions and how policy gets made. It's an awesome opportunity, and it's in a country like this that we get to do that. And the final thing I'm grateful for is the opportunity to have a venue and a forum in which you can and should and must disagree and have discussions over things that are not comfortable to talk about, and we're gonna not agree about a budget number, and we're not gonna agree about a policy or a vacation schedule or content of the superintendent's evaluation. But we do so in a way that sets an example for the way public disagreement and discourse has to happen, which I cannot emphasize enough in this day and age is absolutely vital given some of the vitriolic nonsense that we see happening on the regional and even national level. It's a bit embarrassing from time to time, perhaps more so, And I think that in many ways, local volunteerism provides an opportunity for us to have a much better approach to how we manage ourselves, to how we govern ourselves. So please volunteer. You'll never regret doing it. And you'll kick yourself if you don't jump on a bandwagon every so often and give it an opportunity. So thanks for that. 3 minutes up. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add just a little bit to it, I really appreciate your comments. Both of you, I just want to be clear, neither one of you have made it easy for us, because you do ask the questions. We don't want it to be easy, because if it's easy, it's not rewarding. And both of you have asked the right questions. You push us to be better at who we are. You push us to be better as a system. And we're going to miss that. But I know that both of you represent this community so deeply that we will see both of you again. You're always welcome to come to subcommittees, policy sub, I know it's near and dear. But again, you didn't make it easy, but you made it rewarding in every way, and we can't thank you enough from my perspective as a superintendent, but as an administrative team, because my team knows that they represent you and you represent them, and it works, but questions have to be answered. So you've always asked questions. So just because you're not on a school committee doesn't mean you can't ask the questions anymore, so keep asking. But thank you both so much.
Thank you, guys. All right, you can breathe.
Okay.
Item number 10, resolution against, discussion, action, resolution against lifting the cap in the Commonwealth Charter Schools. This was provided to me by a committee member. So do you want to talk about this? How it kind of came to
Sure.
you?
This, at the joint labor, what are the other two words? Management team meeting.
JLMC.
Thank you. Oh, JMLC. This was presented by the BEA requesting that we consider, the school committee consider taking a stand on the cap or not having a cap for charter schools. And so they propose that this is what we consider saying. And apparently, in their circles, they have found that school committees are signing on and making public statements. So they would like us to consider it.
Okay, let's open up to some discussion.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'll speak briefly to when I was earning my degree to become a teacher prior to doing this in the late 90s. And charter schools were amongst the most cutting-edge venues in which to experiment with different educational philosophies and roles. In fact, a summative project at the end of my program was to get with a team and design your own charter school, right? What would it look like and so forth. The initial role and function of charter schools was to provide petri dishes for excellence and best practice that might not normally be available at a larger public school district where rules were more embedded, where processes were more fixed, and disseminate those best practices as opportunities for growth and learning for larger districts, because charter schools are often one-offs. Also to provide potentially, but not primarily, alternatives for districts, for parental choice and so forth. And in a lot of ways, it had a lot of value, and still, to some extent to this day, a lot of the, in a place like Cape Cod, where we have declining school-age population, particularly at the secondary levels, where we have more seats available to secondary schools, we've created this market-rich environment, which is sort of targeted specifically. And if you're not investing just in the marketing of your school, we've created a culture that was not in the spirit of why charter schools began originally. Nor, frankly, have charter schools, by and large, been the petri dishes of excellence and dissemination for public dollars that they were supposed to be originally. As a result, the lack of accountability over charter schools, the idea that bodies are appointed to oversee the schools by the same executive that they often hire, they don't report in the same way to a community that provides tax dollars directly, the way that we do to our town meeting, the way that we do to emails and phone calls that we get from citizens. None of that happens in a charter school. Be crystal clear about it. There are unique opportunities there. There's interesting opportunities there. But the opportunities are absolutely not shared by all, despite the lottery system, which is a smart way to do business, and there's other public school districts that would be wise to adopt a similar kind of lottery philosophy for program elements and so forth. The reality is that you have to understand that the lottery is available. You have to have a parent take you there. You have to have a whole host of supports that are all publicly funded, and they come at the expense of regular public funding. And they also erode the interest level of and the attention of parents to consolidate within their community. If they opt to go elsewhere, private school alternatives are there, and they're pay to go, and they provide an interesting host of opportunities for families so interested. But charter schools are using public dollars in a way that does not create a level playing field. Where we're at now still provides an interesting competitive edge to all the districts that need to take into account the kinds of unique practices and opportunities that exist with charter schools. There's positivity in that. There's lessons to be taken from that. But raising the cap to do more of that same is absolutely the wrong approach. It could not be anything, in my view, that is further from allowing communities to make determinations, and as has been our tradition for the past 200 years, certainly in our Commonwealth. This is not the way to go, simply, unless everything about charter school accountability and funding streams utterly changes. If that happens, then we have a different story to tell. I am in support of this resolution and would happily make a motion to the committee that we accept the resolution and approve it as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Jude, do you have some?
That summarized a lot of what I was thinking. I think, it is healthy to have some competition, and I think that makes us sharper. I don't have an issue with that. I do have an issue with public dollars not having oversight. Even our technical school has oversight publicly, and so and a responsibility to the individual towns. And yes, I am absolutely in favor of putting a cap on this and signing that resolution.
Okay, I just have two quick comments. First, I wanted to expand upon something that you said, Matt. First, ditto. But one thing, I don't know if you've seen, there's a Lower Cape school, high school now, that's advertising on TV for their students to come, for students.
It's been happening on and off.
I know, but I guess it just, yeah. Yeah, well, no, I'm on television.
Oh, no.
They took out an ad, which, on local TV, which I can't imagine was terribly inexpensive. But, and the process was well-developed, what venue, where are we in a public school, in the public school dollar, of disseminating public dollars, that some of that money now has to be used to market the school to get students back away from potentially the segregation that's being developed. The only other point that I would make is that we're signing a resolution with a number, and I have not confirmed this number.
Well, yeah, that was my question.
I would be happy
The
to
dollar
amend it
amount.
by saying losing substantial funds
Or
or something like that, but Mr. Donahue, could we confirm that it's 1.2 million? Because that's not actually that may or may not be
I
accurate.
have to look at the cherry sheet. I'm
would
assuming
be
that's
good.
off of this year's cherry sheet
I
or
would
last year's
assume.
cherry sheet. I haven't
But
confirmed it,
but
though.
even so, that may be off the cherry sheet, but there are other funding sources necessarily that come in from charter
Right.
schools, and it
Well, there
depends
is a
on what year they're in.
reimbursement, there is a
There's
reimbursement to
reimbursements.
offset that total
Yeah.
cost, yeah.
So I particularly have an issue with a specific dollar, right down to the $75, only because it's something that I know I can't stand behind as far as a figure. I'm confident in the fact that there is money lost for a district, certainly Bourne is one of those, for students that may participate in the charter school system that's developed within the Cape area. But, I just have to echo Matt's comments that if there were changes to remove the bias, to remove the segregation, it's not competition among level playing fields. It's not two teams meeting on a football field. It is, football and soccer, one with pads and one without. It's just not the same. but I'd listen to other comments.
I don't actually, I appreciate what you said, and in fact, as the budget sub-chair, I probably should have said it instead, and a little embarrassed that I didn't, but I agree that it's probably a good idea, and you might want to make a motion to amend that paragraph to perhaps just remove that first clause from the word born to the word and then go with public schools across the state are losing more than 408 million. That's a broad figure that's shared amongst 300 some odd different independent districts that I think is more easily understood. It's aggregated, and that's probably a safer way to do it. But we already had a motion in a second, and I don't want to modify that. We can probably just vote it quick.
It's a friendly amendment to the motion if you want.
I don't object to it as long as.
No, we can pick
who
a friendly
seconded it?
amendment, as long as you
It's
can.
it's with Mitch.
Oh, Mitch, you
Yeah,
second?
no, that's fine.
Erica, do you have any just comments about it?
No.
Okay.
Beginning with the word born, ending with the word and, capitalizing the letter P in public.
Should we just put it to say
Beginning
just
with the
losing
born
dollars,
word
period,
born.
or?
So so we're amending the dollar amount in the resolution by removing the dollar amount and replacing,
I would say amending the resolution to remove
First,
Born.
in paragraph
first
4,
word, yeah, born. And
beginning
then-
with the word born.
Yeah.
Again, Mr. Chairman, if I could, the 408, you don't know where
Right.
that number comes from either.
I would just change it just to
Substantial,
dollars.
yeah, we could make it a.
and not put a figure in it.
Dollars.
Yeah.
so removing the dollar amount, replacing with substantial amount?
Bourne Public Schools, along with public schools across the district, are losing substantial amount of money
Each and every year.
this year, no, each and every year, there you go, something like that. I kind of want to rephrase that.
I mean, we're probably confidently in the millions, right?
Mhm.
So substantial we should, maybe just, I think we can confidently say millions without that exact dollar amount.
Removing the words more through the number 408,
Yeah.
adding an S at the end of millions.
Yep.
Final paragraph to read, public school districts across the state are losing millions this year alone.
Yeah.
A loss of funds that's undermining the ability of districts to provide all students with educational services.
I could
Yep.
confirm that.
Okay, Mitch, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I mean, and are we doing the top, are we doing also Bourne Public Schools are losing dollars, or we just?
No, I'd prefer that we speak as one of many district voices.
Yeah.
I mean, unless someone has a different opinion, we can vote it differently, but.
At the very end, it says the Bourne School Committee, so we reference Bourne there, so.
So, who presents this resolution and where does it go?
Yeah, that was,
It's a good question.
do you know where they're sending it? You said the BEA said that other districts were having this signed.
I
so-
actually don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I got the impression it was to the governor. I don't know. That's an impression.
It's
Did
it's
you
Governor
have to do
Baker's
that?
initiative.
Yeah,
um,
it
from-
is.
Well, it's a
So
lot
I
of,
may-
it's a lot of people's initiative.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Senate passed a bill, and the bill has in there a lot of stipulations if you did lift the cap.
Right, and
But
and
but
it's, we're
it's a year
fortunate
away
those,
from actually anything ever happening.
and the stipulations are, they have some teeth. I mean, it really protect the public schools, thank goodness, the way it
Yes.
came through.
Yes.
It was modified from its original form.
Right.
But I think the resolution is just to present to the current administration, the state administration, that this is a thing, this is really happening, and this is, something we see routinely. So I would echo that it probably ends up, I have no problem passing a resolution to give to Terry. I mean, this is a statement from the school, and what can be done with it is public information.
Right. Mr. Chairman, School Committee, if I could address, with this resolution, you're addressing the concerns that the Senate brought up, so you're just reinforcing what they're saying. If you lift the cap, these things need to be addressed, so it's hand in hand, as long as you take out the dollar figures, because again, those may not be 100% accurate.
And even if they are, it's not, the principle matters more than, I don't want the community, I don't want politicians or anybody else to get hung up on a specific dollar amount as a point.
That's
The
a
point,
distraction.
it is, the point is really about equity and accountability. Those are primary functions, and right now, there's not a system in place to ensure that. There's plenty to ensure that districts have that level of accountability. and
Yeah.
oversight.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so, do we need to reread that, or you have something
Would you
come
like
to?
me
Sure.
Sure.
At least that paragraph.
Motion to support the resolution against lifting the cap on Commonwealth charter schools with amending paragraph 4 by removing the words more through $408 and adding an S to millions was moved by Matt and seconded by Mitch.
Okay. All those, okay.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad, and thank you for that. It's also removal of born to the word and.
Yeah.
Okay.
In paragraph 4, for what it's worth.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Now we're into school committee business. Item number 11, accept the minutes.
So moved. No, we don't need to do. No, we're just-
Anybody have any problems?
Yeah,
No questions.
consensus. Yep.
No questions, no objections.
Again, Joyce, thank you very much for the work. It's very good. Very thorough. And so much better than minutes of old from 10, 15 years ago. Okay, we also have another set of minutes. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? Yes, thank you for that. I did scratch it out because I didn't see the student here. On our agenda, we had item number 2 under the public participation student report, but I don't think we had a student here for that tonight. Okay. They were at the Meet the Candidate night. Okay.
Get Principal Sutner step in.
Yeah, that's what she
Yes.
did.
I mean, really, that was
It
a
would be
brief of
great
the
to
high
have
school.
them back. I always
Right.
like hearing from them.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe find a good group for
I think it was a
next year.
Tennis baseball game.
Yeah, that's tough.
Doesn't it?
All right, too.
Okay, good. All right, item number 11, second part is the May 2nd meeting. Again, by consensus, any issues with those notes?
Just the motion, what is it? Motion to adjourn, you know. just-
Couple of J's and adjourn?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Oh,
all. Nothing
typo.
crazy, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, as amended? Okay, thank you. Boy, is she picky.
Oh, I don't know, it was just there.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, up next is policy. We have some action items, I think, tonight.
Yes, we do.
Stuff.
Just a few letters in the alphabet.
Just a few.
Ew, some alphas.
Madam Vice Chair, Madam Secretary, I should say, of Policy Sub, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, so policy AC, the non-discrimination policy, which was distributed last go-around. The first paragraph was edited based upon recommendations from the staff. The original paragraph read more like a disclaimer, so we removed some phrases in that first paragraph. So we're moving to accept the edits for the non-discrimination policy as presented.
So moved.
Have it?
It didn't make you bind
Or
our.
second,
We don't
sorry.
have it.
All right,
in
we
here.
just don't have it, but
Well, it was in our.
it was in the
Read
circulation
ahead.
read ahead,
Yeah.
so that's fine. And that accounted for our updates.
Yes, yeah, oh, yeah.
Excellent, excellent, yeah, I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you, that was actually modified by some public support, so that was helpful. We'll vote on these each individually.
Yes.
All those in favor of the changes made in policy AC?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, thank you, it's unanimous. Okay, ACDC, sorry.
ADC, policy, tobacco use prohibited on school grounds.
It's a good thing he's not on policy sub. Jeez.
The word prohibited, there were some additional edits from our previous meeting, one of them being including vapor products
Right.
and code of conduct. So those are the two edits, so we're moving action to approve policy ABC, tobacco use prohibited on school premises as presented.
Is it typo and prohibited at the top?
Second.
Seconded. Second.
Prohibited?
We have a
Yeah.
tide, yep,
There
we
is.
need to,
Heather told me about it.
that's right. That's good, that's good. Rubbing off on you.
Very good, Ed. Okay, so as amended, Do we have a motion? I mean, we have a motion, somebody second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions, thank you for your work on that one.
All right, policy ADDA background checks. This particular policy has certainly been well vetted and forthcoming. It was updated as per the Department of Criminal Justice Information Services. They adopted new regulations regarding the model policies for background checks. So this is just the model policy
Okay.
based upon that recommendation.
Okay.
And so we move to accept policy ADDA background checks as presented.
Second.
The only thing I want to add
Any
to it
discuss-
is
okay.
that we've consolidated, this is, again, just as a reminder for us, but also for the community, consolidating all this information, given the litany of requirements that are really are rigorous and important together in a single document versus having different things about this kind of background check, as my race goes flying, or a query or so forth. This takes care of business altogether. It's really the right answer, so.
Okay, thank you. And I assume there's fee charged by the provider, there's no real changes in contract implications, so, okay. No, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, thank you.
Policy ADF is the wellness policy.
It's not in your packet again, sorry.
But
But
that's-
it was in the read ahead.
Read aheads.
This is
Yep.
the read aheads. This particular policy was reviewed by the School Wellness Advisory Committee, so this is a first distribution with some recommended edits from the School Wellness Advisory Committee.
And Joyce, just to make sure you know that the read-aheads, I think she was circulated with those.
No, I've not, it's
we
a
just
good
need
point.
to-
I did not put, I will put her on there, yeah.
Okay, thank you. We just have to make sure you get copies of these for the minutes. Thank you.
One of the assistant superintendent was added to the wellness policy, and then just some removals of a concession stand language in, for food and beverage section of the policy. So, but again, first distribution, so you can take a look at that, and we'll move for action after the next policy subcommittee. So there's no action on that particular policy at this time. And then we have several policies for retirement. Policy BBB, school committee elections. Our elections are governed by the town of Bourne and its policies, so there's no need for the school committee to have a policy, it's redundant. So, we move to retire policy BBB, school committee elections.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Policy BCB is also actionable for retirement. It's the conflict of interest policy, and again, the town of Bourne has, we're governed by its policy on conflict of interest, so there is no need for the school committee to have such policy.
All right, good.
So we move to retire policy BCB, conflict of interest.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Policy BDE-R, guidelines for subcommittees. This one also is covered, this one is redundant, but it's covered under policy BDE, subcommittees of the school committee.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time on it, by the way.
We will be forthcoming with edits. So we move to retire policy BDE-R, guidelines for subcommittees.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Policy BDFA-R, these are procedures for school council, and as you know, it is strictly a procedural and not a policy. So and in this particular school council, they fall under the policy for advisory committees to school committee, which is also going to be a policy forthcoming with edits. So, this policy is recommended for retirement.
Any discussion? Oh, no, is there a second?
Second.
Sorry. I was getting in the rhythm. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
So policy BEA, regular school committee meetings. This is redundant. We have a policy entitled, policy BE entitled school committee meetings. So
Sure it's redundant?
we move to retire policy BEA, regular school committee meetings.
Second.
All those any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I probably could have combined policy BEB, special school committee meetings, along with the regular school committee meetings, because again, we have a policy entitled school committee meetings. This falls under, so it's redundant.
The other important note to keep in mind with policy BEB is that open meeting law covers this exceedingly
And
well.
open, right.
Mass general
And
law can't be superimposed by a policy that we do locally, so it's
Right.
again, well-covered territory.
Yes. So we move to retire BEB, special school committee meetings.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
Policy BEDB, agenda format. This is procedural as opposed to policy of law, so there's no need to have procedural types of policy. They're not policies, they're procedures. And there's no place for them in policies,
Okay.
in a policy manual. So we move to retire BEDB, agenda format.
Second.
And the only thing I want to emphasize is that this falls into the category of a lot of things that we do on the committee that's really the purview of the chair, to be very blunt.
Right.
When push comes to shove and it all boils down to what the responsibilities are, the chair's really responsible for this. We do so very collaboratively and we tweak the agenda over time to improve it to our needs and whatever faces us, but to put it in policy is silly.
Through the chair, I didn't see on your list BEDB-E, but it's redundancy from the one you just retired, BEDB. So I wasn't sure,
Consider it.
it wasn't identified in our agenda, but I don't know if you want to table it and retire it next meeting and put it on there again, but it's just, it's fits right into what you're saying.
It's policy B.
I'm happy to discuss it tonight.
It's right in the packet that I gave.
It's
in
the
your-
next page.
No, she's in her,
Oh.
she's got the master,
Oh. I just love this payment of bills.
BEDB-E.
yes.
I thought that was just a mass policy that he had brought forth as
As an example?
an example.
It could be, there's so many of these, so yeah.
So, because otherwise the source would say Bourne.
Born, okay,
Oh, look at that.
my error.
The one before said.
Okay.
Yeah, the one before said
Yeah,
mass.
the one
I could
before
be
says
mistaken.
mass too.
So we probably should, I'll follow up on that and look online to see if it is an actual
Yeah,
policy.
see if we actually have one.
Might be, but I thought that was a, right.
Sorry, I didn't do that cross-check, so I
Okay.
apologize.
All right. Policy BED.
Did we vote?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
On DB? I don't think so.
We did not.
No, not
Yeah,
on
I think we still gotta
BEDB.
vote on DB.
On BEDB agenda format.
Right.
Okay.
You're correct, we do not have that, we don't have the dash E in our policy, so you're correct.
Despite the recommendation of mask, again, they're not saying, by
No, it was
reading
just-
this, they're not implying that we should have this.
Correct.
Okay, I just
Correct.
wanted to, because I would have been surprised if
correct.
they come up with that conclusion. Thanks.
Any further discussion? To eliminate B, Bravo, Echo, Delta, Bravo, BEDB.
I thought you already did that.
Agenda
No,
format.
we
We haven't
didn't.
voted.
We
We're
didn't
voting
vote.
now.
We made the motion.
So, all those in
say
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, and then we're going to skip over the next page. And the next one we're gonna discuss is,
BEDC,
Very good.
quorum. No need, of course, town governance of meetings and quorum policies dictates. So there is no need for this policy, so we move to retire policy BEDC, quorum.
Second.
all those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we did have a quorum. Okay,
First time I read.
Policy BGA, entitled Policy Development System, is covered under Policy BG, School Committee Policy Development, which will probably, which actually will not be forthcoming because we do not have edits, so we're okay with that particular policy. So we move to retire Policy BGA, Policy Development System.
Second.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This one.
Lot of work, okay. And the final policy, BID, Policy BID, School Committee Member Compensation and Expenses.
Oh, what happened?
And,
There was a
Perk
check.
up on that one.
I told you there was a
And
check.
we're retiring it?
so we are governed by the town of Bourne policies as they dictate compensation and expenses for
Very good.
all committee members. Therefore, we move to retire policy BID, School Committee Member Compensation and
There we go.
Expenses.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are you sure?
No.
Abstentions? Thank you very much. Thank you guys for the policy group. That's a ton of work to get through that. Thank you.
Getting started.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute.
Getting started.
Some people that need to get on it, how much fun it is.
That's all, we've only just begun.
Yeah.
That just scared me.
Carpenter? Okay. Thank you. All right, item 13, action to exercise FY17 option on first student bus contract. Mr. Donahue, Director of Business Services.
Yes, okay, speak again. Okay, I'll just give a little mini update as we go through this, or where we stand on the bus contract. This originally, we went out to bid 4 years ago. We had awarded for a student a 3-year contract. And last year, the committee exercised for the 4th year, which is in the current year. And there have been issues of, I would say, especially at the beginning of the school year, their service was deplorable. I'd say it's definitely has improved. It's still not 100%. I mean, we still do not, we're in May, and we still do not have the full complement of drivers assigned to Bourne that we're supposed to. We have drivers, but we don't have our regular drivers, a lot of fill-in drivers. We still have some upper Cape buses. Upper Cape buses to do runs and things in the morning. It has improved. We've had a couple of meetings. Falmouth and Bourne have sort of committed to gang up on first student together. Work together.
Collaborate, yeah.
Collaborate with first student. We've had a couple of meetings together in Falmouth. We had another one last week. We've all got together and just talking about the service issues. They're having
Good idea, Ed.
Yeah, they're probably having more difficulty in Falmouth than we're having. So we are doing that. It has gotten better. I get weekly updates from the regional manager of their hiring and where they stand and trying to fill all the slots. They have goals this summer to recruit and train drivers all summer. With this past year, they really didn't do that. Then they weren't prepared when a lot of drivers didn't return. They expected to return. They had a lot of drivers just not return for the school year, and they weren't prepared for that. So they committed to being prepared next year if that happens. They lose drivers, have a pool of drivers available. So it's been an ongoing, issue. Hopefully, they do find the people, the staff. It's more of a staffing issue and training issue. It has improved. I still get a little frustrated when it happened the other day when at the high school, like 2 o'clock, there's a bus out there to take kids to sports and says Falmouth on the side of the bus. So I do complain about that, because sometimes they can't get a driver back with a Bourne bus. And we have complained, they're supposed to use Bourne buses, especially going to sporting events. The bus says Falmouth on it or Upper Cape or whatever. It's not really appropriate. So they are aware of that, and Sue Downing, the transportation coordinator, does, relays that they have to make an effort to use a Bourne bus for sports. So that's how we stand. So this is there's the last year of the contract. In the upcoming year will be the last year, the 5th year of the contract. That we can't go beyond that in any contract. So we'll be going out to bid again, in a year from now for transportation, most likely. So this would just be to extend the current contract for 1 more year, with the option with all the terms and conditions and pricing that was in the original bid proposal. This doesn't give you dollar values here. That's all in the original bid. They bid out all prices when they did the original bid 4 years ago. So I'd ask you to make the motion to, we have no other option basically to stick with first student this time, so we'd make the option to, extend the contract 1 more year with first student for the final year of the contract.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we extend the contract as printed from Bourne to first student transportation for the final year through, what was the
It'd be
date?
July 1 to June 30.
Thank you, through June 30th, 2017.
Second.
All right, discussion? I just have a couple of comments or questions, Ed. I know, my understanding in being involved in this contract 4 years ago was that we did a 3-in-1.
So 3-1-1.
There was a fifth year on this?
We're in year 4 now. So this would be
You know
year
what,
5.
I do remember that.
3-1-1.
Okay, all right. So we're actually,
Right. Same with the food services coming up next. So they both have to bid at the same time. You can do a 3-year.
max is 3 years, but
Max
two
3 years.
consecutive 1
And
year.
then you can do, actually, food services will differently only do 1-1-1, but you can only do 1 year at a time with food service. But with transportation, we can do 3 years and 2 1-year options to extend. You can't go beyond that.
And next year, do you anticipate first being a viable candidate for bidding?
We are looking at other options. I'll say that, I really want to discuss.
Okay.
Ed's been proactive.
We are pursuing other
that
options.
front.
I don't want to really say publicly.
So have you found that working with the other towns, that you can, maybe you guys all can kind of come up with other options together, or your other business managers?
Well, we have
and-
talked, we actually have made some contact with the state, because, I mean, it's well known that First Student is pretty much across the Cape has been the only bidder in any recent bids that have gone out there.
Okay.
They're pretty much bidding against themselves, or, you know, so there have been some drastic increases some districts have had because First Student was the only bidder, and they really, there's limited competition in transportation on the Cape. Last year, we went out 4 years ago, we did have 3 bidders.
Yeah.
I don't know if we, but even at the time, First Student was the low bidder by like $300,000, so.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So then so you wouldn't, so whether we go out to bid again, would you get 3 more bidders?
As a matter of fact, I think.
Likely, I don't know,
provider
based on our
sold his buses,
experiences.
right? Previous provider actually got out of the business.
Yeah, our previous provider essentially retired from the, he retired, went on to his other job and
Okay.
sold a lot of it. Actually, they bought most of the buses from him. First Student bought his buses, his fleet of buses.
All right, do we have any further discussion?
Have they submitted a plan or anything, to that they're, like a good faith plan that they're gonna outline of what they're gonna do
Yeah, they
to
have. I
meet the
said-
deficiencies?
Yeah, we've met with him, and he does, gives him weekly updates on the hiring status. There's been a lot of excuses in the past, it's a registry, it's this, it's that. They're trying to advertise. They do advertise. So, we have these meetings, I said one last week, and he assures us that he has a plan in starting in June. They're gonna actively recruit people that are gonna train over the summer to have a pool of drivers available. There's always some drivers that don't come back. They have an issue with, people say they're coming back, so they collect unemployment in the summertime, and then they don't come back. Once they get out their last unemployment check, basically. That's an issue they had last year. They really didn't plan for that. They're committed, verbally, they're gonna, they're
could you-
planning for it.
So could you, and maybe even in conjunction with Falmouth, ask them for, just even paperwork feedback of committed
Well, they give, I
drivers, or
actually get a
something
week,
that would
I
make
get a
it?
weekly list. He sent me, every
Yeah,
Monday, he sent
okay.
me a list with names of people.
Oh, okay.
Where their status is, their training, where
okay.
they're gonna be. So we are getting that.
Okay.
We do get detailed list every week of the updates. He gives actually names of people, I don't know who the people are, but he gives me names of where their status is in the training, when they expect them to be completed. So we are getting that. I mean, it's just they have to find the people. I mean, it's, as I said, they don't really advertise. I mean, the jobs pay like $22 an hour. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize. I said when we met last time, you advertising what you pay, because a lot of people don't realize probably a school bus driver, prevailing wage job. So it depends on the town, but I think in Bourne it's around $22 an hour that that they're paid, which you probably don't think they get that. That compensation. It's a tough job, a lot of responsibility, but.
I want to be clear too, Mr. Donahue and Sue Downing, Transportation Coordinator, are working on recouping some funding because of some missteps in their service. We've talked about that in the past.
Well, we have talked, and there are some other issues, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I have had meetings, and we are going to have, some credits due to us with some issues, that have gone on this year, where we have, where they haven't provided the service. And Falmouth and I feel the same way as our transportation coordinator. They have a transportation coordinator similar to Sue Downing in Falmouth, and really, they're doing the role of First Student in many cases, where they're doing the shuffling, they're moving the drivers, they're adjusting the routes,
Right.
which really is responsibility for a student. But our people do it, Sue Downing and the person in Falmouth does it, because obviously they're committed to get the kids home and safely. So they're doing it, because that's their commitment to get it done. They don't have the confidence in First Student. They had a lot of changes in their staffing in their office of that manages the fleets in Falmouth and Bourne, office in Falmouth, and they had some personnel changes last year, and they still haven't really recovered as far as having the level of expertise we feel in the confidence.
You almost have to prop
We don't
them
have
up.
the confidence, Sue Downing, she'll send them things about like sports trips, and she'll give them a list. All right, this football team, the hockey team, whatever, and she'll have to call again and follow up and check with the
Right.
driver herself. But she's really double and triple checking, because we don't have that sense of confidence that a bus is going to show up. Because it hasn't shown up in the past. It has gotten better. I'll say the spring, it definitely has improved in the spring. In the fall, it was pretty atrocious to start the year. It has improved, but they've had a shortage of drivers, especially trip drivers, because they can't, high school, they leave the high school at 2 o'clock. Well, all the drivers are out driving elementary runs till 3:30, 4 o'clock, so they have to have additional drivers available to do those trips.
It's duty
That was a
time
great
issues.
challenge. They didn't have those drivers. But then they send us drivers from, 10 towns away, don't know how to get anywhere, Yeah, so it's definitely, it's improved. I mean, this is Sue's, I think, worked here like 15 years, and she says it's the most difficult year she's ever had with transportation, It's definitely been a difficult year.
You're making it very difficult to vote, yes.
I know,
Well,
just-
in
Well,
a
if I
sense,
may-
they're having to prop them up because there's not much of an opportunity.
Right.
You have to make this work.
And if I may,
If
there's
you're saying it's the
no,
only
no
other
option.
provider, right.
Right.
There's nobody else out there,
that.
there's nobody out there with
Kind of-
25 buses we can call. who's gonna-
it's a
Time.
sign of
Yeah.
discussions to come, though, for the committee and certainly
Right.
for
Yeah.
the business director.
So if anybody's watching this, there's an opportunity for entrepreneurship
Yeah,
out there right now.
I was just gonna say, please understand, this is across our state. This is not just a Bourne Cape
No,
Cod
it's-
issue. This is,
Right.
transportation's been hurting
Yeah.
across the entire state. Unless it's been a real mom and pop fixture in a community, this large company has really been a struggle for a lot of communities across
Yes,
our state.
Especially, the whole state, and especially on the Cape. I mean, we're really feeling it all across. Because we meet, obviously we're part of the Cape Cod Collaborative, and the business managers get together probably every couple of months, and we meet, and we're always talking about transportation and, issues with, the different, well, usually it's for a student, the provider they pretty much dominate. Cape Destinations does some limited, some, they do some transportation on the Cape, and that's really about it besides for a student.
It's just an example of where, as districts, we squeeze every penny we can and try to provide the best we can for our students, and sometimes it isn't always the lowest bidder, so.
Right,
Oh.
that's true.
Okay, well, but 300,000.
Yeah, no, all those glowing recommendation, I wish you'd approve this contract.
Yes.
Glowing.
Yes, I know,
Glowing.
really.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion as read?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
Okay, a report from Heather DiPaolo.
No, I think you
Ed,
skipped.
Ed again.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
you
I
skipped
thought you just snuck in the
Getting
Chartwells,
there.
they were all
Yep.
set.
Sorry. I do Chartwells too.
I'm really trying to stay on
So
the
this is
clock.
it's the same process, as Chartwells and First Student on the same cycle of contracts. With food service contracts, the state really does, is very involved in that, DESI is involved. So you can only do actually a 1-year contract with 4 option years when we went out to bid. So this would be this is our 4th year with Chartwells. We're going to, this would be the last year of the contract with them. We'd have to go out to bid again this time next year. We're going to bid for food service also. This is much more positive news on Chartwells. I met with him today, with Darlene Grealish, the food service director, went over the numbers. Actually, through April, we are positive in the black for about $12,000 for the
She's
year.
really turned it
Year to
around,
date.
yeah.
Yeah, we have done I mean, it's been great. I think the prior food service director was great, but I think sometimes a change can be good, just different eyes on things and making changes. She's doing some positive changes, and I think, like, our breakfast participation is way up. We do a la carte sales, so things have gone up. So it has, it's been positive. Last year to date, if we compare, obviously, 1 year, we up about $2,000 positive. This year with 12. So I feel confident we're gonna finish the year positively. And I actually got a check, Chartwells again. She delivered a check from my office today for $1,000 for a scholarship for a high school student. So we have a $1,000 check from Chartwells, which I'll be giving to the high school for,
That's great.
for a scholarship this year. That relationship is going strong. It's good. So it's positive.
And strong and improving. I
Yeah,
think
definitely
it's a-
improved.
It's a credit to, I want to single out Ed for his rigorous diligence about squeezing every advantage out of this contract and in getting the improvements over time. It's been huge, and I'm very appreciative. I mean, we get a lot of this discussion at Budget Sub, obviously, and it wasn't a foregone conclusion that necessarily early on that it would be as successful as it has been. And that's frankly due to Ed's work and to credit the
Yeah, I want to
management
credit,
of Chartwells.
the
as well.
Chartwells people.
Absolutely.
And the staff in the schools, they work very hard. They know their numbers, and, she works with her staff, the managers and the staff of the buildings to do their best, to make each location do the best they can. So that was all the staff.
We'd be remiss not to give Catherine Walton a little bit of credit on this too, because this was a hot topic for her as well.
Yes, yes.
Especially the
I'll see you on
reimbursement.
Friday.
Got a lot of
Tell us.
discussions.
Getting those
Yep.
applications in.
Right.
After 7,
She set us in motion on those, some things.
the gig was
Everybody drinks.
Absolutely.
So motion to extend the food service agreement contract with Chartwell's commencing on July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017 as presented.
Second.
I need further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Now we can go to item 15, Cape Cod Collaborative update.
Okay, yeah, so, part of my subcommittee work is that I'm on the Cape Cod Collaborative. We meet down at Osterville once a month. Their meeting is actually this, week cycle. It's the second Wednesday. They meet at 5 o'clock. And I wanted to just be put on the agenda for this month because I wanted to let people know that they are actively seeking land near the Upper Cape Tech, and it affects us where they do rent from our building, my former kindergarten, Otis Memorial. So that is definitely something to just be thinking of. They're considering even having the Upper Cape Tech students build the building. I'm just trying to say, what did the last time I said was like a 2 to 3, let's see, where's my actual notes on that? They're using the same road right now as the Upper Cape Tech would be their idea. Further down the road, they would potentially think about using that area where it's that 3 or 4 bay garage where you go near Gallo there. And their estimate is actually shorter than I said. It's 1 to 2.5 years is their estimate for the project. 2.5 would be if they would use the students. And the other note is about the increase 5%. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Tuition's going up.
Right. Yep. Budget, 5% increase, yes, for the fiscal year 17 rate. So definitely know about that.
Does our land lease or our building lease to them go up 5%? Not so much.
No, well, we
It's
do,
not-
we do
it's,
get,
uh,
well, it's sort of, we
it's-
do get 3
it's
slots,
yeah,
so
right.
we get the credit, you know.
Okay,
the
so
cost of
that,
the
so
slot
that
goes up.
value kind
Yeah,
of,
it's not a dollar value, it's 3 slots in the
Okay.
program.
But it
which
could
is
later
current-
translate into a dollar value.
Right, which
Certainly.
would be-
It's translating to probably about $120,000.
and it's one of those opportunities we haven't unfortunately taken advantage of recently, but to pay that forward.
That's
We
not
do
true.
have-
No, we do have-
Traditionally, we do
We
get
have 5 commitments
Yeah.
for at the high school and 1 at the middle school as of March. So it's so fluid, but that's the most I've seen in a long time.
I think a couple
5
times
for-
this year, we had 6 students out
Okay,
there.
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
once or
this year has
twice.
been the most used that I've seen in a while, for our enrollments over at the collaborative. The other part of my subcommittee work, it's kind of funny, I was on a subcommittee, and then I actually was on their subcommittee to do the collaborative, so subcommittee. But the Articles of Agreement, this took 2 years, and it was a lot of DESI language back and forth, but it finally got approved with all of the 19, 19 towns and school districts that are part of the collaborative. So you'll see here, it was just, even just getting the signatures was quite a challenge for the director, Paul Hilton, to go and get all of this, but anyways, it's done, and we feel like it meets the collaboratives, what they needed with their billing and their quorum issues and DESI's. And there was phone calls and conference calls on that and whatnot. And then the other thing is, with the Cape Cod Collaborative, they also have the ASLP program, which a lot of people are familiar with because it happens here at the Mass Maritime, which is for our advanced learners. It's those that just could use a little extra. It's a STEM-based program at the Mass Maritime for 3 weeks, and we were allotted 15 spots this year, and we're utilizing 14 of those. And that is, 225 kids are going to be going to that this summer, so which is great. Since I was on the subcommittee, it's actually grown 100 kids, so it really is, and they still have a waiting list, and female power, there's 134 females and 91 males going this year
nice.
from 2016. So that's kind of exciting. But I don't know, does anyone have any other questions, like especially about the new building? Because they showed me this feasibility study that they've started and things like that. I don't know if anything. I mean, it's just something to know about going down the road.
What's the primary I guess my only question would be, what's the primary driver for the rationale for the desire to do it? Is it that the current facility is just, they're outgrowing it, dated facilities, health concerns, or what kind of?
Yeah, I think you're right. Just, it's kind of like our people's thing too. We're working in an old school, and they want to be able to have
Are
their.
they responsible for repairs and so forth on the existing school?
We're the landlord, I mean, yeah, the school does have a lot of issues. I mean, a lot of roof issues, which really, it's probably too severe to be addressed. I've already told them that, conversationally, we need roofs at the high school, so I don't see the town putting a roof on Otis.
Oh, we're good.
So they have done some patchwork repairs, and they don't use all the classrooms. They have like 65 or 70 students in the building. So I think the ones that have more leaks they don't use. Our guys do go out there, our maintenance staff goes out there to make repairs, minor plumbing repairs, boiler repairs, make sure the boiler's running. If the heat goes down, our guys respond. We're responsible for minor repairs. Anything, exceeding $1,000, I think it's supposed to be on the tenant. We don't really, we just try to work with them. We do work closely with them. We do go out.
Of course, you did the
Go out there.
asbestos abatement and all
And
that.
asbestos abatement, we're responsible
You
for
had to do
that. We
that,
just had the best asbestos abatement 6-month survey last week. We do go out there. We have to make changes to fire alarm systems, so we have to do that out there also. So there are some costs to us that we're responsible for that we obviously have to do. But the building, I mean, I think it's getting to the end.
It's nearing end of life. And
Nearing
again,
end of life.
we're maintaining the margin of
Right,
safety.
they're safe.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Sure.
But it's really nearing the end of life.
Right. And then lastly, I'll just do my little plug. So, right before the meeting, I get this nice packet mailed to me, or it can be also emailed to me. So all the information is in here. It's once a month, 5 o'clock. Panera is, served at every single meeting. Do not, with the cookies. So you get salad, sandwich. It's about an hour and a half meeting. You meet some great people from around Cape Cod. That actually has been fascinating. You're at the beginning or the end of the meeting, we have what's called the Cracker Barrel discussion, and so that's just kind of what's going on in your district. If you wanted to share, and I've brought up different things here and there that have gone on with us, but it has been a really neat part of the whole school committee. What is it? Experience, yeah, just some, I don't want to say obligation, because that sounds a little bit harsh, but I'm just, and the other thing is that the director, Paul Hilton, I will say, if you're, talk about a transition easement, man, oh man, he is excellent. He meets with you, takes you on a tour, of all the different facilities, he is available for questions. He's definitely, really eager to keep his board members in tune with what they're doing, and understands that we are busy with our, our own districts, but, and is very up to everything. He does like everything, doesn't he? He does everything that's going on.
He's a former business manager, that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
Well played.
Got it. Anyways, there you go. So,
Speaking of, I give you an update on, I was actually on the collaborative search committee for the business manager. Their business manager, Jim Brown, has been, I think,
Yes.
a dozen years.
Right.
He's retiring in June, and I know who was selected by the committee, and I know they were gonna, I don't know if they had successful contract negotiations, they're gonna name that person tonight, so I don't wanna say, I'm not sure the detail.
Okay,
How that
It's
worked
not
out.
Ed Donahue, just in
It's
case.
not me.
okay,
It's
oh,
not
yeah,
me. It's
that's
not me.
good.
Clear.
But I don't want, so I know who was selected, but
I know.
it was pending contract negotiations, so I don't know how that came
Right.
out, so I'm not gonna say, but there is somebody new
good.
gonna be coming in place.
That's another person, totally thorough. Oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
reports he would give, and yeah, just really. But he is going to stay on as a.
I think there'll be some
Yeah, a
transition,
little-
because Jim
a
is
few
really
months.
their transportation guru down there.
Yeah.
That's a strong suit, so I think
Right.
he'll be staying on for that part of it for a while, I believe.
They're hosting a mask workshop on Friday.
I could see that, yeah. And they do the February what's it called, candidates, day, no, what is it called? Our elected
meet the
official-
candidates, yeah,
No,
meet
it's
the-
not the
meet
meet the
the-
candidate, no, it's you
meet
meet
the,
your
uh,
elected officials, what's it called?
Legislative,
Breakfast.
Legislative
Yep,
breakfast
yep.
is a really
It's a
good.
very-
great-
Right,
very
and
good.
that was, very informative, again, you meet more people, so, that was that on my collaborative, just what's been going on lately.
okay, thank you, Heather, thank you for your work with that, and it sounded almost like you were maybe reconsidering. Okay.
Just checking.
Item 16, review and propose future agenda items.
Welcome new members.
Okay,
That'd be good.
that will be the June meeting, wow.
Keep in mind, this will be one of the few times that the school committee is the Wednesday before graduation, too.
That's right. Almost never happens.
Yeah, no, right.
Do you know who will be,
Cards?
Mel's working on them. We only had limited number of the
Okay.
ones, so
Almost.
she designed a new one with the Bourne seal on it, and
Yeah.
they're
oh,
getting
so they
printed
didn't,
right now.
they didn't,
No, we didn't sign
No.
at the town meeting, that was
No,
one
we don't
thing we
do that.
No,
did.
the cards we
No.
didn't.
The
Diplomas were
diplomas
there.
are
No, no, no,
good to
no,
go,
no.
you have to do
No,
the,
they're
yeah.
ultra focused on town meeting. There's no,
That's right.
That's
We were
very good, very-
yeah,
I'm-
reviewing our warrants,
I-
it's really good.
very good following along, excellent job. Being kind.
Big-
Good. Okay, so, that's key, folks, so we're gonna have to get together and make sure we communicate with Ms. White, I think she has them.
Ms. White has diplomas, and
Yeah.
the cards should be available this week. If,
Okay.
we'll work with Mel on that.
All right, all right,
Is there
devote
a
a little
warrant to
time.
sign on
Right,
Friday?
is this an action item? I need to be
Yes.
explicitly told if I.
Yes.
That was my email to you, I said we gotta get together and figure out how to get those signed.
Is
Okay,
there a warrant this week?
Is there a warrant this week?
Yeah, there is. 'cause,
So we
yeah,
could potentially come in on Friday
There
and
will be a
sign the
warrant,
warrant
yeah.
and many,
There's a warrant.
many
Many.
cards.
It's 140 of them.
Yeah.
I
did mine
just need to
electronic.
come here.
well, you know, if I,
Good, blocking my time, yep.
I'm gonna bring them to the house
Yes,
and you
all
can
school
sign them
committee
when you
members
guys come up
sign
Friday night.
the card
Yeah.
that we
Okay.
give to every graduate.
Okay,
You coming up?
Great idea.
It's a,
tradition.
It's good.
your
It's a very nice.
congratulations
yep.
card.
Okay, looking at these items though, new member items, new welcome, but, anything else that you guys see that are glaring? I have a couple that say June, but it's a July meeting. And just as to reiterate, what I generally do is look at the last couple of years' agendas to figure out what cycle we're on.
Maybe, date setting for our summer retreat,
Okay,
summer workshop.
What?
you didn't know about that one.
What was that?
Date and agenda
Oh,
setting.
yeah.
For the
It was in-
14-day workshop?
In a stuffy hot room on the best summer day, yes.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
We tried
Heather.
it, it's actually very valuable, it's a mission and vision setting, objective setting goals, and that's really the theme of it, but then we try to kind of catch up on a lot of stuff that we sometimes, because this is really the only opportunity we have to chat.
Not having the override this year.
Yeah, we'll take a look at
actually.
subcommittees, which is on here, but, I mean, that would be done normally at that, summer workshop.
It'll be a point of team building and getting to know each other
Yeah.
because of the
Right.
change in school committee.
Occasionally, we have some people come in and talk specifically about a particular item, give us a little training about something, so.
Okay. Do we have a date for that? I missed
No,
that.
we're
No,
working-
I'm just
that's
saying
right.
that we
Working on it
should
right
put
now.
that on the
Yeah.
calendar so we can set a date.
Yeah, and we normally go to Mass Maritime, they usually, had in the past found us a spot, but we may, look around, see what else is out there, just not to inundate them every year.
Chris, I could do SWOT if you want with the Lyme
SWOT
transfers.
analysis.
Okay,
I mean,
I
this
haven't
was-
had one in a while, Ed.
I haven't had one, I know you're missing it.
actually, I think for time purposes, we've kind of pushed that, so that
Yes,
needs
we
to
did,
happen, yeah.
Yeah, especially in the.
Okay, and next meeting location, now this is a big one, there's a possibility.
Possibility, so just be prepared that there is that possibility.
For this, so for everybody's education, and Matt, if you just get into the same mode and end up showing up anyways, it's gonna be here unless you hear otherwise,
Right.
okay?
Correct.
All right,
You can
With
highlight
potential to
it.
change.
okay,
Okay.
are there two people that would like to make a
I
motion?
make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Oh.
That was not fast enough on the update.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Oh,
I
let him
retract my
second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations,
meeting
guys.
for executive
Thank you.
session.
Yes, but don't go far.